coffee.
Well, if no one's gonna drink this, maybe I'll just... Ugh, that's terrible. That's...
It's Friday. Oh, yeah. Morning, everybody.
Hey.
It is Friday, and in fact, we call it Fantastic Friday. That's the name of the show. Yeah. It's morning coffee, but it's also Fantastic Friday.
Hey, I can stay on the Friday show, so it is fantastic.
Ooh, guess who's roboting today?
What?
No, she's not roboting.
He wasn't roboting.
You're all three roboting. It means I'm roboting.
Definitely you, Gerry.
Wonder what that can mean. So am I roboting?
Nope.
No.
You're coming up nicely.
Okay. All right. So you three are roboting. All right.
I can hear all of you just fine.
Nobody's roboting, man.
No, I'm talking about, for me, you're roboting. So I just assumed that means I must be roboting, but you're saying I'm not. So
yeah.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Fantastic
Asking if I
Friday.
care. I don't care.
Gerry, do you care about the roboting?
No.
Okay.
No. I like Cylons.
Are we roboting for you guys in chat?
No, I doubt
Let
it.
us know.
I doubt it. It's
Yeah.
probably just for me.
They usually call it out
Oh, yeah.
when one of us is crackling.
So let's see. Yes, we are on Rumble today. And from this point forward, we may or may not be on KGRA's Facebook streams. I'm still waiting for final approval. There was a little shift to shake up yesterday, which is we were the great experiment for KGRA, and we have great numbers. I showed the numbers to Anima, and I think Martin got to see them too. But the decision was made that Bill is being overworked.
Yeah, we watch too much for him.
Something had to break, and getting up in the morning to do the shows was exhausting for him. So it was us, and I don't mind. We're still part of the KGRA family. We are live with them on Wednesdays, but during the rest of the shows, we're on our own. We're on our own.
So no more ad break. Yay.
No more ad break, except for Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep the KGR thing because we are still part of the KGRA family. We're also on Rumble. Yay. So I don't know if we've got hey, Monkey Jeeves is here. Penny is here. Alex Moore is here. Who else is here?
Penny was first, as always.
Yeah.
Penny was first. Yep. So good morning, guys. It is Friday. I hope everybody's having a good Friday.
Fuck off, Loki.
Yeah. Who's this Marty?
Well, somebody
Costco
broke the F-bomb
Santeria?
already. Yeah.
Yeah, because my cat jumped me again
Yeah.
and sitting on my shoulder like
it's not
fucking
like this
parrot.
where you go like this, you hit mute. Like Don tries to do. Don tries to do that when he's having problems. He tries to hit that mute. He doesn't. He's not always successful. You hear
There's
Bailey
no time
whining
to
in the
hit a mute
background.
when my cat startles me like that. There's no time.
Hey, we've got a $4 super sticker from Darius Munchausen. It's
Well-
the pair with the coffee.
Yes, thank you very much, Darius.
Thanks,
Deeply
man.
appreciated. For that one, you get Bill.
Ma, I'm doing a show.
So it's going to be interesting because I felt like we weren't getting much out of the sponsor we had, and I just I mean, they're great guys. I love their drink, but it's so expensive. So I talked with Bill too about that, and we're going to start looking for a specific sponsor for us because we got nothing out of that deal. Nothing. They weren't helping us in any way. And apparently, you know, I'm not going to say anything negative about it because I think they're great. They got a great product. It's just so expensive, and I don't think people are buying it. So, I mean, I was told I needed to buy it too, full price. I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
That's not how sponsoring works.
And Monkey, that's probably correct. It depends on if we've got another show afterwards or whatever. But if we have to go over a few minutes, I'm sure that's fine.
Oh yeah, I want to keep all our shows close to 2 hours. But yeah, we can go over. If there's a discussion going on, we're not going to wrap it up immediately.
Like if we discuss a movie and the slideshow wouldn't finish, so we don't have to rush now. We can take
it's just there's
15 more
no
minutes.
there's no crashing for the gate where we end and it's like, oh, I got a statement I wanted to make and I can't make it. We're not going to be rushed at the end anymore. It's going to end when we end it.
So no more me yelling about the time and having to break because Chanel's yelling at us, except on Wednesdays. So yeah, that'll still happen.
Wednesday,
we'll still have Chanel yelling.
And but I also had a great conversation with Bill because KGRA likes what I do, and they would like to do a new show, and they want me involved with that show, which is more of a roundtable debate show. Because like Bill goes, you like the debate, right? You and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Have you not watched the show when I go into somebody? Yes, I love the debate.
Yeah, but when do you want to fit in another show in your timetable? That's crazy.
It'll be for them, so I'll do it for them. We'll figure out the day though, because I don't want it to be Tuesday or Thursday. That's all I need is Tuesday or Thursday off to do what I need to do. And I eventually want to get back on Toxic Tuesday. Basically, you know, I had some really kind words said to me last time. I'm not going to say what they were, but it was from Patrick and Mexican Iron Man saying that I'm an influential part of Toxic Tuesday since I joined, and Nick and everybody wants me back there, and I'm like, Tuesdays are so rough for me. But I'm eventually going to work my way back over there. So I love those guys. I love hanging out with them. I mean, that's where I met Brian. I fucking love Brian. God damn, that guy is so awesome. But yes, in your query, yes, we can go over, and there's no emergency rush for the exit. Everybody crowding to the exit door.
I would like to thank you for being so busy you had to drop Mondays because I enjoy being over there on Brian's show.
Oh, you like being over there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun hanging out with him, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, it's doing all the music shows and stuff, and then being part of the Canon Film Club is awesome.
Yeah, I still would like to pop in when they finally get around to that one Canon film, which they made it first. The family made it first in Israel, and then they brought it to America and remade the film. And it's a classic.
Popsicle or something.
No, The Last American Virgin.
Oh, okay. What?
It's one of my favorite films from the 80s because it is a comedy with a dark ending.
Well,
and it's got that real life ending to it.
Yeah.
It's a raunchy comedy. It's very raunchy. And at the end, you have this bleak fucking ending for the main character. Because you think, look, everything's finally going his way. And in the last scene, everything is taken from him. And he's just left broken at the end of the movie. And that felt so real life because my life was a raunchy comedy with some very dark fucking moments. And I really identified with that movie. Cam's here. You're here at the first of the show. Look at you.
That was great.
Monkey.
Cam.
Sorry. Monkey is asking about Babylon 5 Mondays. That's not on our channel. That's over on
Fat Stevens. And I'm
channel.
hoping that they get that going again because that was a good show. They wanted me to be a part of it. And I'm like, and you remember when this happened, John, I'm sure. It's like,
Yeah.
I got on there because I love Babylon 5. And then they started talking and I went, holy shit, I know a lot about Star Trek. I know a lot about Star Wars, but apparently I don't know shit about Babylon 5. I do not belong on this show. I am not nerdy enough for this one. I could be on Star Trek. I could be on anything. But Babylon 5, I thought, I love that show. I watched every episode.
Yeah.
I don't know fucking squat about that show. I forget characters' names. I forget plots, the races.
You always do that.
I want.
You remember the
So
actors'
want to
names,
be
but
on
not
that
the
show,
current
man.
names.
Yeah, but when it comes to Star Trek, I remember like everything. In fact, I'm excited that Pluto TV has started another Star Trek channel. They got 2 Star Trek channels now, 24 hours. They've got really some good stuff. They got Star Trek. They got one channel that's called Star Trek, and all it shows is Star Trek Next Generation or movies. And I'm like, shouldn't you have Star Trek? Like Star Trek? And no, they don't. They created a whole other channel. It's like more Star Trek, whatever they call it. And that one has TOS. It's got Voyager. It's got Deep Space Nine. But I don't think it's got Enterprise yet. I haven't seen Enterprise on it yet. But I slept, went to bed at 4 o'clock this morning to Deep Space Nine and woke up to Deep Space Nine. And I sleep with a headset on, one of those wraparound headsets. So I sleep to Deep Space Nine last night. It was nice. I woke up to it and I'm like, oh, I like this episode. But DS9, I didn't like DS9 when it first came out. I liked the first season. The second season, I was like getting, oh man, this is.
I dropped out pretty quickly. I need to give it a try.
Deep Space Love Boat, and I'm like, whatever, it's always about who's having a relationship, and it bugged me. But eventually, Keith convinced me to watch the final 3 seasons. I think it was 3 seasons. And so I watched the last 3 seasons. I'm like, holy shit, this is really good. It got good. When they got that ship, I just forgot the name, the Defiant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Defiant. They started being Star Trek again.
Yeah.
They started acting like Star Trek, because they were a hotel out in space that had to deal with riffraff every once in a while. And I just didn't like that. It was boring. And once they got on the Defiant, and I saw that one episode where the war is about to break, and that one human, which is played by Ken Marshall, the son of Peter Marshall, best known for playing the lead in Krull. And he plays that one guy that's, I forget, again, Deep Space Nine is a show that I don't know all the aliens yet. And he's of that species that are trying to take over the planet. And
Cardassian.
No, he wasn't Cardassian. He was human. And basically, I think he was a terrorist group faction from the main planet there.
From Bajor.
Bajor.
It's Bajor.
And he threatens, this war and all this shit. And Cisco's like, either you surrender right now, or I'm going to kill everybody. And even like Worf, it turns around like, what the fuck did you just say? The Klingon's like, what did you just say? And at that moment, Cisco became the baddest ass fucking captain in the history of Star Trek.
Yep.
When he did that, I was like, yeah, that character's badass. Threatened complete and utter genocide.
He punched Q.
The Maquis, thank you. The Maquis.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Monkey. Thank you. That was it.
I didn't realize that was
the
a
name's
Maquis
sitting there in
episode.
my head, and I wanted to say it, and that's the one, the Maquis. God damn, Ken Marshall was so good in that role, man. But anyway, Keith was right. Because Keith and I, people think, oh, you guys just agree about everything. No, we don't. We argue all the time. We're just very nice about how we argue. We respect each other's opinion a lot. And so we're always very, very friendly and polite. Well, I think you're full of shit. Well, that's awesome. I think you're full of crap too, you nut job. All right. Love you, buddy.
Well, more importantly about Pluto, they have a Godzilla channel now.
Yes, they do. It just started. I saw the promos for it. I'm like, yep, there you go. I got to add that to my favorites. But I will tell you something that's pissing me off about Pluto TV. There's several things. One, the commercials are just horrible sometimes. I'm watching Perry Mason, and you know what I don't want to watch when I'm watching Perry Mason? Anything that deals with vaginas.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch Tampon. I don't want to watch. And you know what else I don't want to watch? They're internal promos for shows that are raunchy. It's Perry fucking Mason. It's G-rated TV. That's family TV. Keep that shit up. But Paramount doesn't give a shit. They seem to have cleaned up their act a bit over the last 30 days. And I started noticing a lot less of the crappy shows being advertised on some of their better shows. I even throw it on Andy Griffith every once in a while because I'm like, God, it's been a while since I've seen that. I want to watch that. But they have a classic TV section, a bunch of different classic TV channels. And they've got a Happy Days channel, which shows everything connected with Happy Days, from Happy Days to
Laverne and Shirley.
Laverne and Shirley and Mork and Mindy. And people forget that Mork and Mindy was a spinoff from Happy Days. But here's some trivia
I didn't
for you.
know that.
Here's some trivia for you. Does anybody remember a TV show called Love American Style?
Yep.
Do you know that Happy Days was a spinoff from that?
I had heard that, but I didn't.
I saw the episode when it aired.
I didn't see that episode of it.
They had different actors in it, except for Ron Howard. And it was called Love in the Happy Days. And it was the Cunninghams. Yeah. And it was one of my favorite classic episodes. And it was basically the pilot for Happy Days, is what that was.
It was a backdoor pilot.
Yep. And I thought that was great. But Love American Style is like this great show. And I still have a few episodes that made it to YouTube, and I downloaded because I knew that one day they'd get claimed. And God, I love that show, man. Love American Style. I love the theme. That theme song just resonates in my head.
Unsurprisingly, in the 70s when I was a kid, I wasn't that into it.
Well, you're younger than me, so I don't doubt it. I was a little older because that show started in 72, right? I think 72. Let me go look it up real quick. I'm on the other computer, so I don't have to worry about roboting when I look something up. Love American Style series.
Good morning, Courtney.
I remember it was on ABC. It started in 69, so I would have been 5 when it started. And I remember that show. I also remember when we moved to San Fernando and we lived on the same street, a few houses down, actually, I think it was like 4, from Harrison Ford, back when he was a nobody. And I never met him. I saw him. I never met him. Saw Margot Kidder. She lived on the same street. And I remember my dad had a nasty name for her. But I remember Harrison Ford because I was the same age as his oldest boy. And we played together a few times. And don't remember his name. But I remember his wife yelling at us to get out of the lawn because the sprinklers were on. And we were playing.
Matheson?
No, it's way before Matheson.
Yeah.
It's his first wife. I can't remember her name. But she yelled at us to get out of the lawn. And I saw him a couple of times because they had like a tool shed thing in the back. And I saw him on the roof doing something, fixing tiles or shingles or whatever the fuck he was doing. And I think it was one of the few times I ever saw him. And he had a big fucking thick beard. when I saw him. Looked like a fucking hippie. And then one time I saw a repeat of an episode from around that same period when we lived there. And there he was in Love American Style in one of the episodes. And I'm like, holy shit, that's what he looked like when I lived there. It was weird.
Well, he liked being a carpenter and doing carpenter and fix-it stuff. So
yeah, I had no idea he was an actor. I had no idea until later when I saw him. But Andy Barlow's here. And of course, Courtney. You said Courtney. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. So we're 20 minutes into it. Let's go and get this thing started here. Did you download the episodes? I put them up there.
No.
Okay. I guess I'll do it. I don't know if I can get to it on this computer. It's in the Dropbox folder for Friday.
Send me a link and I will download them.
I'm on the other computer.
Oh my goodness.
I just said I don't even know if I can get to it.
once again,
good.
we show our professionalism.
Yay! All right, I've got it. I guess
I have said it. We are professionally amateur.
And slideshow. And there we go. That'll teach me not to assume a goddamn thing.
Well, I didn't get any notifications about that, so.
I hate that when you go to download some like multiple files and it automatically puts it in a zip folder. I didn't ask for that. That really fucking annoys me.
Hello, Dragon Ruse.
Dragon Ruse is here. Good morning.
Yeah. The dragon is here. Ready to rust all of us.
And you know what? I think I'd like to start off with Skull Island, because it's not going to take long for the little slideshow on that one. It's a very short video because they're only like 18, 20 minutes long.
Yes.
And so the film strip's like only like 8 minutes, I think, total. And I really enjoyed that show. I don't know. Have you guys watched it?
Oh, yeah. I watched the whole thing in one sitting.
I think we did too. I think I got Anima to sit down and we watched the whole thing together in one sitting.
I think we did, yeah.
All right, let me.
When I became aware of the existence of the show, I was just perusing in Netflix. I haven't seen any poster or anything. I didn't know that Kong was an integral part of it. And
yeah, but I like the fact that he's, some people are like, Kong needs to be in every episode. It's like, no, he doesn't. No. This is a new group of people meeting him for the first time.
Yeah, and I'm a big Kong fan. So I have this conflicting view of the show. For in one hand, I love seeing Kong, obviously, and on the other hand, I wanted a show that wasn't made around Kong, but around the island per se. However, I will not complain that I got my Kong fix.
Well, this is interesting. It says it's having trouble sharing the video.
Yeah, I run into that all the time. With that's why whenever I share videos, I have to use VLC and share the screen.
That is really weird. It's StreamYard. It's not me.
Yeah, it's StreamYard.
Yeah.
That's really
StreamYard does
what the fuck?
Strange thing from time to time. Like sometimes when we play the videos, I don't see it.
This was really funky. Like, what is going on with StreamYard?
Hey, that man.
Hey, dead man. How's it going?
There we go.
And-
hey, Deadman. Here, I'm going to put it in the private chat. You try it, Martin. I'm having trouble. It won't let me share.
And Dragon Roost is here too.
Here we go. Here's the link. You guys try it. I can't do it for some reason. It won't let me share. Yeah, I was talking before I went to bed last night. I talked to Dead Man Walking because I'm going to be on his show on the 22nd.
Cool.
And I said, here's some weird shit about me. I don't talk about much. Or that a lot of people don't know. A select number of people know about me.
like he likes to dance around in a tutu and a leotard when nobody's looking?
No, not that one. No, not that
I
one.
didn't want to know about that.
Look, fuck you guys. I like doing it.
Okay. Where is... should I let it roll or pause it?
Yeah, because this is where we meet some dude. Now, I was wondering if this is the same character, but he looks too young to have been the character that survived Kong Island in the movie. But he's somehow related because he knows the information. Okay. But I don't think that's the same character.
No, it's not.
He looks like Bert from Tremors.
Because what's his name? John
Oh my
C.
God, I
Reilly.
want to forget that movie.
John C. Reilly.
How dare you?
I'm pausing, waiting for you guys to be done. John C. Reilly played the character in Kong Skull Island. And that guy does not act or sound like him. I mean,
No.
And if it was going to be him, they would have found somebody to sound like him. But this is the father and son. Of course, the dad, we know, died on the first episode. And then we cut to, they survive. They're on the island, and they're trying to figure out what to do here. And he walks towards the shore, and they're best friends, you know. And I love the fact that they left that alone and let them be friends instead of trying to make it some sort of tryst. You know, they just left it like sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. And they immediately get attacked by these fucking giant fiddler crab things.
They are
This is episode
huge.
2.
And this is a lot like Tremors in the fact that any movement triggers these things come up out of the ground, out of their little hutch in the sand. So they're stuck on this fucking rock, just like the characters were. Which one of you said that? Tremors.
I did.
You did. Because I love that. Because that is a definite callback. And of course, the dad, who is played by, I think that's is it Benjamin Bratt?
I think so.
I think it's Benjamin Bratt. Skull Island series. Yeah, Benjamin Bratt, very good actor. They've got a really good cast. They got Betty Gilpin as Irene. They got, I'm not so sure how I feel about Mae Whitman because she's kind of woke in real life. But the two kids, Nicholas and Darren, are in it. And Phil Lamar is in this.
And
they got that girl,
and stuff.
Frida. But anyway, so the dad survived, and he doesn't know where the boys are if they're alive. And then he runs into these guys, and they're like shooting shit.
Yeah, well, this rock behind him suddenly is moving.
Suddenly it's moving. Everything is alive.
Giant fucking insect.
Everything is gigantic and everything is alive. So it's like, be careful what you sit on. It might be alive.
It's like Australia. Every animal wants to eat you or kill you.
There's a rock there, and it's a miniature version of one of those things.
Yeah, we were wondering, is it a baby or are some creatures?
I think it's a juvenile version of the giant rock. But I think it's funny because it lets out a protest when he throws it.
Yeah.
He goes, did that rock yell at you? That was hilarious. Did that rock yell at you? and of course, this rock is freaked out when it lands because it knows the crabs are there. And it's like, get the fuck away from me.
That's a baby version, for sure.
Look at their faces. They're like, oh, shit.
Holding on to each other like girls.
I know it's not the same creature, but that That animal reminds me of the parasite of the kaijus in Pacific Rim.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It also reminds me of a potato bug. If you're in America, you know what a potato bug is. It's they have another name. I forget what it is. They roly-polies, and they roll up into a little ball. And we used to play with them as kids, just flick them around.
Oh, we have animals like that over here.
Yeah, here too.
They're weird.
Well,
they're kind of like a centipede and a beetle, all rolled into one.
When they roll up, they get so hard. You could step on them and nothing happens. I mean, I can.
Now, this is Irene, and I figured it out immediately. Clearly, she looks like the little girl.
Yeah.
Annie.
And Annie. So I'm like, it has to be Annie's mom. Oh, that tortoise shell covered in aloe vera. I'm like, the fuck is this place? No, the aloe vera isn't growing out of it. It just has aloe growing on it. I'm like, this island's crazy. And they're still trying to figure out, and you can see something's going on with his chest already because there's shit blotted out on his chest.
I mean, this island is so weird that when he learned about it as a kid back with his dad, somehow Mike started to think his dad was just imagining and making up all this. He didn't think it's real. And in this episode, they realized, oh, holy shit, this is Skull Island. It exists.
Obviously, neither of them had watched Dune to know
right.
to walk
without rhythm.
Get a thumper. You need a thumper. Now, of course, this is kind of cool here because Charlie is about to be attacked by one of the crabs and suddenly gets hit by a spear. And Annie is back. She found a spear. There are spears on this island. That means there are other people on the island. And these things don't just hide in the sand. They're in little hutches in the sand. They make hutches under the ground. I thought that was kind of cool, like trapdoor spiders.
Yeah.
Did you have to bring up spiders?
Well, yeah.
Fuck you.
And then she found like another spear, and he goes, I like this argument over property. She goes, that's mine. He goes, no, that was from our ship. It's mine. It's ours. And she has no idea of what personal property is. She has no idea of how to respect those rules.
Well, how? She grew up pretty wild on an island.
She, her own mother later in the show calls her a cave girl.
I wasn't living in a cave.
Live in a cave. I know, it's so fucking funny.
I was going to be mean because I posted a picture to Martine. I was gonna tag Anna in it. Of
where
on Facebook. You didn't see that? Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah, I saw it. I tried to read the article.
Yeah,
but it kept nagging me with some pop-up. It didn't let me read.
Sorry.
No, don't worry.
Basically, they found softball-sized spiders in mines in Mexico, and I was going to tag Anna in it.
Oh,
hey, the butt channel is here.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You really don't want to do that. I will have to deal with the deluge of whatever that causes.
You don't need enemies when you've got friends like that.
Got the Bat Channel.
There are books with spiders on them. She won't touch them. With photos of spiders.
Yeah.
She wouldn't touch them. She's like I was when I was like a kid. Because I absolutely, I couldn't pick up a book that had a spider on it. There was a book in elementary school with a spider, a black widow on the cover. And everybody would walk over there like, look at that book. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. No, don't. I don't want it. No, keep it away from me. That freaked me out. Hey, the Bat Channel's here. I haven't seen you in a while, dude.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I popped in to watch, what do you call it? Mark, I call him Mark C with a big D. He was showing off the boys last night over on Klobb's channel. So I stopped by to say hi. They were really nice. It was fun. And during the show, it was funny. The girl that was on there, she was a guest. She's an author, and she was like you can send me some of those Star Trek toys. But it was like late at night, and I just popped into the chat, and they like stopped the show for a little bit to chat with me while I was in the chat, and I'm like, no, I just stopped in to see what you guys are talking about because they're talking about Star Trek toys.
Was it R.M. Briggs?
Yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah, she's the first officer when they do their Star Trek.
And they were talking Star
show.
Trek last night. That's what they were doing, and that's why I popped in. I saw it was a Star Trek show. So let's see what they're talking about today. So I wanted to get to this scene where they meet up with Annie and they start walking through the jungle because I can't remember. Is this where we meet Dog?
No, but we hear Kong because that's what makes the crabs disappear.
Yeah, episode 3 is when we meet. That's right. Episode 3 is when we meet Dog.
We meet Dog at the very end of this episode, and we don't know that it's Dog yet because it looks like it attacks Annie, but it's just throwing her in the air and playing.
All we know is they run into some soldiers too,
and Annie hides immediately.
Yeah, Annie just disappears because she doesn't trust them.
She knows they're looking for her.
This is such a good show, and I like the comic timing of the dialogue. It's not silly. Yeah, here we go. They've got guns and they're always shooting, and we don't know who she is officially yet, even though we figured out really quickly that's Mom, and she's leading some kind of mission looking for Annie, and Annie thinks they're trying to imprison her.
Yeah, well, she got stranded on that island too. She and the soldiers. They want to cruise to Singapore when they stranded there.
Well, they were hit the same night they were from that kaiju.
Mm.
Yeah, if movies and TV have taught me anything, they've taught me never trust anybody that uses AKs.
Yeah, and they all have Russian AK-47s.
Yep.
Maybe they're Chinese. The weapons, not the.
There she comes. She's a little ass kicker. I like her character. She's not overdone. But I'm sure it makes the girl that plays her real happy because she's woke as fuck, Mae Whitman.
Yeah.
She is a woke Hollywood bitch.
Got to separate the art from the artist.
Yes, you do. Because I enjoy her in this show, but I don't want to listen to her talk. It's sort of like Tom Cruise, too. It's like, I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. Don't want to hear him talk about his life or religion or anything because he's weird.
He's a bit of a nut job.
No, anybody who follows Scientology is a nut job. I mean, spaghetti monster religions, look, I'm okay with those. Anybody who wants to believe in God, stuff like that. Just my problem is when they come to my door and start trying to push it like Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. They just annoy the shit out of me. But that was pretty much the end of the episode. It just, I can't remember. What was the exact ending?
The exact ending is that Dog appears, but they don't know that it's Annie's dog. And Annie howls when she hears him. And Dog comes
that's right.
And she's standing there with her arms outstretched, and the dog charges for her, grabs her arm, and throws her into the air. So you don't know what.
And it's rushing them and knocks the shit out of them like a bowling ball.
The gunman,
that's right.
Yeah. But the boys are like, "Holy shit, what's going on?" They don't
what
know
is
yet.
that? And that's the end of the episode. I like how they have those great cliffhanger moments on the show. I like that. It's a very good serialized show.
That's why you binge it.
Mm-hmm.
You just need the next episode, and they're short enough so you can do it in one sitting.
I need to finish it. I've only seen the first episode.
Yep. Oh, and yes, Monkey guessed it too. That's who I was talking about, R.M. Briggs.
Yeah.
That's who was on last night, and it was a fun episode. I wish I gotten there earlier and seen more of it, but I really enjoyed Mark showing off his new phaser. I told him I have the original Wrath of Khan communicator. I have a classic Star Trek communicator, and I have one of the phasers. The Wrath of Khan phaser, and it's functioning. It still works. The other two don't work. The corrosion from batteries that were in it, I don't know. I've tried cleaning it up, and it's still, for some reason, there's a short somewhere in both of them. Can't get them to work. This is episode 1 of Jack Ryan, and we immediately jump into this. This is great. Like, you have some sort of special operations team, and these guys don't look like mercs. These guys look like the real deal. So I'm like, these are clearly tier 1 or tier 2 operators being sent in. And we see this guy here, and he's talking with them. And while they're in this place, they take out a person, clearly a high-level target. They take a photo of him, and then they take a sample of his DNA.
And it bugged me that they stuck in the needle the wrong way into the vein towards the fingers. That's like.
They then turn to make their means of egress, and security hits them, and they end up in a firefight. They get kind of trapped, and he cuts off communication from whatever tactical operations center he's supposed to be in. But then we find out it's not. It's a free. He's just on monitors at a business. And he turns it off and leaves them to die. And walks out into an office full of people that have no idea what's going on with him. And I'm like, holy shit, what is this? And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this is a quasi adaptation of Clear and Present Danger by Tom Clancy. I say quasi because they changed a lot of stuff. But it gets some of its beats from Clear and Present Danger. And I kind of like that because I love that book. And I like the fact that, finally in the show, they have a season that is actually based off of a book. I don't know how far they're going to stick to it, but it's good so far. So he's in a phone call with somebody over in Myanmar.
And he's confirming that the job is done.
The job was done. Guy is dead. It's confirmed.
That's Monkey Jeebus.
And then we cut to the mall in D.C. You can see Jefferson's Memorial there to the left. You can see the Capitol building all the way down at the end. And where we're sitting at is actually right where the Washington Monument is. If you look to the far right, that is the very edge of the Washington Monument and the circle of flags around it. So I spent a lot of time there. And then the White House. And of course, I got to tell you it's White House, even though it's White House.
Or the crack house, if you're referring to it today.
Right now,
yeah. You beat me to it. Glenn Fleming's in the house.
Hey, Glenn, what's up, buddy? Okay, Bad Channel. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
Bye.
Well.
And of course, just like with Clear and Present Danger, there is a close relationship with the president throughout the story. I don't know if they're going to follow the story with the president as they did in Clear and Present Danger, because in the book, he was directly involved. Casually, but directly with what was going on in South America. And in that one, it's Colombia and Bolivia, as I recall in the book and in the film. This time, it's Myanmar, U.S., and Mexico are the three countries at play.
The movie version of Clear and Present Danger, isn't that the one where they put the jelly beans on the desk?
No, that was the first film.
Was that the first one? Okay.
Yeah, Patriot Game, or not Patriot Games.
Wasn't
Hump Red
it
October.
Yes, Red October.
Okay.
And Clancy got pissed because he didn't want a connection to Reagan.
Yeah.
And he thought that was a shitty move on their part to do that. So far, they're leaving this guy completely autonomous from any actual president. And I like that.
That's
He's
usually best.
He's his own character. Well, it's such a stabber shot at people. Then they need to not do that. It's annoying. Her character at first I thought was just a checkbox character, but she's really actually an interesting character.
Director right.
Yeah, you don't want to piss off half your audience. Right
Yeah,
off
well,
the
and
bat.
this briefing is about, they have a problem because they did not authorize this operation. So it's not an official operation, but the weapons recovered are. So something is fishy here.
And he wants to know, and as did the Senate subcommittee, wants to know, is the CIA involved? And of course, Jack Ryan doesn't know, and he admits it. He's being honest. So we cut back. I love the fact that they just said the Yucatan, even though each place within the Yucatan has a name.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah,
Chichen
Yucatan
Itza,
is
there's
real
Cozumel, Isla Mujeres, you know, but Yucatan. And this is when we meet the cartel. And we meet this amazing character. Wait, what episode are you watching right now?
It should be the first.
This is the first one.
Does it say the first one? Okay, all right. So I just want to make sure that is one of my favorite characters, and I know a lot of people love this character. Is Ding Chavez. He's a former sniper, I think Army, but in this one they make him a former SEAL.
Oh,
Like
Luis
Vera.
is in the show.
He also was in the CIA.
Well,
Is it
a lot
going
of
to explain what's going on?
nope, because they're going to let you think that he's a killer.
Well, he does
First.
kill.
Because no, just a killer. He's not just a killer. He is a killer for us, but he, just like in the book and movie, they took a lot of time focusing on that female. I'm like, is she important? She's not important. I think that
No, she's weird.
the director or the cameraman just had the hots for her, so he like really put her center screen.
Yeah, I can't
And
figure out why.
they're in the bedroom with her, and they're going to do some naughty things. And then Ding Chavez walks in and goes, "Hey, I'm busting up this party," but he says nothing. He just stares at him. But you know he's busting up that party. And then there's the scene. This is the scene where he's at a hearing with the Senate subcommittee, and he's being blunt and honest with them. And they, you know, they want to know who did this. And they said, and why should we trust you? Weren't you the guy that just went rogue?
In Russia,
And they're referring to the shit that went down in the previous season. So they are trying to be more serialized. And I like that, just like the books were. But the nice thing about the series and with the books, you can actually pick up a book and you don't have to read them in order to enjoy it.
No.
It helps sometimes to go, oh, I see where that connects there. But it doesn't matter in the long, because each story is a completely encapsulated story. So
I
you
just
can pick it up and
started
read it.
with this
Yeah,
season
she was
4. I haven't
fussing
seen
about
any
it.
of the,
She's fussing about that. I've not seen any of the other ones. And I'm like,
because oftentimes you
doesn't
just
matter.
miss too much context. But the context that
There's
I
really
need,
not
I
that
get
much.
from Gerry as we're watching it. It's not that much, yeah.
it's not that much. You'll get this reference here talking about Russia and certain relationships from people from the past, but you get that in other stories too. You don't always have to, well, this is Bob. This is the guy I served with in the Navy. I don't know that story. Well, it was never written about. It's, you know, it's not important.
I was
You're
just
finding
fussing
out
when you
about it
started
now.
it.
You're learning about it now.
Yeah.
So if you calm your jets, you'll enjoy it. And I do, you know, I'm hoping she enjoys this because I enjoy watching it. It's a slow burn show. This is not an action show. There's action in it, but it's far and few between. This is an espionage show. It's a thriller, just like the books were.
Appointment.
You know, I love the books because there's so much fucking detail. Anybody who's a Tom Clancy fan loves that. And I like the fact that Krasinski really he is the secret showrunner of the last 2 seasons. A lot of people don't know that. That's why the show started getting good. Season 2 was off the rails, dumb. I mean, it had great moments in it, but it was based on dumb stuff. showing an ultra right-wing conservative Venezuela. I'm like, what? No. If you're going to base real countries that are having real problems at the time you're making your show, you better be fucking honest and talk about it. And they made the hero a college professor.
Yeah.
That wasn't code for commie. The hero was a commie.
I can't look at John Krasinski without being a little sad.
Why?
Because we're not gonna get him as Reed Richards, and when we did get him, as it was a throwaway scene, and he went out like a
terrible. It was terrible and a waste. Oh, we're in Marquez now, and we see the delivery
of the hands. Yes. Ugh.
Okay, way to give it away before it happens. Awesome. But I do want to mention that in that conversation, he tells the Senate subcommittee, from this point forward, we're going to be 5x5 with you. And they're like, well, we'd like to believe you, but from what we've seen so far, you don't give us much. And he goes, you will. And that's how it is. He says, you will see a change. And then we cut back to Ding here with his little box and delivering it to somebody. And
there's no talking in that scene.
No, we see these guys, and that guy with the white hair, that's his cousin. That's who he technically works for.
He's like, here, let me give you my digits.
He gives him the box, and he looks in there and goes, yep, that's what we wanted. And he takes it in there. And I know it's too late. Anima gave it away. The guy's hands are in there.
That's why I made the digits joke.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought there were the 4 element stones.
There they are.
Okay.
Taking a picture, and then he sends that photo to Myanmar. And Ding is, I don't think he's just acting. I don't think he's very happy right now because he's doing this work for the cartel because his cousin got him in. That's his cousin. And
he's not happy.
But you're not being let know that. But I already know this because I know Dean Chavez is a good guy because I read the fucking books. And he's absolutely one of the favorite characters of the gamers out there that play Tom Clancy games because he's a featured character in Rainbow Six. And in his own game, way back, was it Lone Wolf or what? I can't remember that one where he and the objective of that game was to actually infiltrate without alerting guards. You actually, you fail the mission if you alert a guard. You have to sneak everywhere. It was on I had it on my PlayStation back in the day, back in 99, 2000, right around there.
Yeah,
I hope he doesn't.
It used to be that the Tom Clancy games were a lot of stealth games, and now they're shoot 'em ups.
Well, you had that with Michael Ironside's game by Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
What was that called? Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell was a great fucking game. And stealth was still a part of that. You could run through and just fucking kill everybody. They allowed you to do that. But the fact is, you did better in the game if you were stealthy and got past guards without having to kill them.
Well, I'm still stealthy if everybody else is dead.
Oh, and by the way,
in a very loud way.
one of the really cool things in that game was that you could drag bodies and hide them.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And that was what, 05? I think the last game I played of that was in 05. And that was on Xbox. So they're talking, the cousins are talking and letting him know, I got you this job, blah, blah, blah. I need you to keep doing what you're doing. He goes, what is this leading to? And he goes, you'll find out. So we see high tech here. We're at a new location, and it is Myanmar. And that is one of the heads of this organization. And we meet the other guy and we find out that they're somehow related. I'm not sure exactly how, either through business or what. But this guy works for the triads or whatever you want to call them. And the other guy, the older guy, is his boss, but he doesn't take shit off of him. And he's explaining to him, you don't know anything about what we're doing here, so you can just shut the fuck up, is what he tells him here.
Yeah, well, the younger one wants to expand aggressively by making a deal with the Mexicans, and the older guy's just like, that's not
controlling the cartels. He says basically what it is the cartels are in chaos. They're at war with each other. That nobody trusts anybody, and the triads see this as an opportunity to take them over. Oh, Finkman's girl's here. Hi, what's up?
Yeah.
Oh, that is the standard in Hollywood, and it's dying quickly because the studios are failing. And eventually the investors have to knock the shit out of these studios and go, we want our fucking money. And we got that forthcoming. Oh, there we go. There's Kathy. Kathy is back this season. She was in season 1. And now she's finally in season 4. This is, of course, the woman he marries and has a child with, like, in the books. And they kind of hook up in this episode. It's like, hey. And so they end up sitting down together and going to try to hang out. And I like the fact that she's a full figure girl. They didn't make her one of those scrawny bitches. Although in the book, she is a ginger.
Of course, they had to change that for the series.
Yeah, Hollywood hates gingers. Hollywood hates gingers.
Yep.
But they brought her back for this season. I'm glad because I always liked the way the relationship kind of drove him in the sort of, especially in Patriot games. But so often his family would be in danger because of stuff that he got involved with or he discovered. And a lot of people don't know this. He became president of the United States.
Yep.
Jack Ryan does.
Yeah.
Not by election, though.
After a terrorist attack kills everybody in the Capitol building, he is the lone survivor.
Yep.
He's the lone
survivor. He wasn't even the designated survivor.
He's not the designated lone survivor. He's just the lone survivor and becomes president. And, of course, I didn't like him in season 1. Because they went too heavy into the him being a Muslim thing.
Yes, that is Abby Cornish. Man, she has put some weight.
Yeah, she's a big girl. Anyway, so that's Greer. Their best friend.
I love how he interrupts and she immediately is like, okay, I let you boys alone. Because they need to talk.
Yep. And immediately it's... what's going on here? What do you know? What do I know? It's a sharing of information, and this is the buildup to what's going to happen in this season, where they're setting it up. And those weapons, we need to find out where those weapons were because I believe that they are our guys. I believe they're our guys.
They need to find out about like black operations, not officially.
And that's just it. I was getting ready to lead to that because there are black operations going on.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is, find out what black ops are going on around the world and, who have active teams doing shit. We need to find out who these are. And so that's Ryan's next step. Then we cut back to Wukong Pound, of course, Myanmar.
Hold on. You forgot a piece of information here that's important, I think. Because they know that former director Miller used to encode his notes, but Greer is able to read that.
Oh, that's right. Because he says it's a bunch of gibberish. He goes, it's gibberish unless you know how to read shorthand kind of notes. And he goes, you know how to read it? He goes, I can read it. And so he gives him those documents. And that's right. Greer's going to go look at them and try to make sense of them. But again, we are back in Myanmar with these gangsters, part of the triads. And I can't remember what's going on here.
Chow is getting ready to go to Mexico to meet with the cartel with Chavez. With his son. And
I love
think
this
it's
club,
his bodyguard.
It's almost like a James Bond feel to it with what's going on. There's a lot of world building
Yeah.
going on. And he's, basically you can tell this guy's trying to make a power play. And you don't know why, but he is clearly pushing for something. This is a scene I don't even remember what happened here. What was with the chip? Do you remember?
Isn't that the scene where the lieutenant who works for the cartel lets him know that the police knows that a shipment is coming?
Yes.
And he takes a bribe?
Yep. As long as the money is flowing, they get left alone. And there you got the allusion to his wife and child for the first time. And we don't know right now what these two's relationship is, but it seems like they're family. And I thought maybe he's his son. We don't even know that shorthand is an actual thing. So now we have the briefing between her and him. She's his boss, even though he is currently deputy director of the CIA.
Well, she's the acting director, so
she's the acting
he's basically
director.
First officer.
Yeah. But they've got problems. Then we cut back to clearly Mexico. It's got chicken.
They failed to find
And
logs
this is
for
where
9
we meet-
operations.
This is where we meet this. I don't know what he's police, but federal. But I think their specific job is waters, where it deals with the waters, which is why he's by the shore. And he is one of the people that's being paid to turn a blind eye. And so he's coming there and he's saying, I need to get paid. Keep my eyes looking in other directions. And he gets kind of smart with Dean Chavez. And Dean, at the end of the conversation, says, I'll make sure you get your money. But you ever talk shit with me again like this again, I'll come up and I'll kill you in your fucking house.
Yeah, well, he's giving him shit about changing the plan, but he needed to in order to not make the
Hey,
cartel weak.
that's the policeman from Man on Fire, I think.
I do not think that is the same actor. I do not think. Because I know that actor. I can't think of his name right now, but I do not think that's the same guy. But I know immediately who you're talking about, the one who gets a bomb shoved up its ass.
Yep.
I don't think it's the same guy. But this also sets up, it's important to keep the flow of money going. And that leads to what happens next. Because this is so important. You want me to turn a blind eye? You better keep me paid. Because I did not get my money. That payment did not come in. What is it? Shorthand is one of a million things my boomer dad would talk about. Okay, you say boomer dad, Darius. What year was that guy born? And where was his parents? World War II people.
Oh, millennials just call boomer anyone who's older than them.
Don't think
Yeah.
anyone really knows how to correctly use all these
Yeah, I get called a boomer and it
whatever.
aggravates me. I said, I'm not a fucking boomer. I may act like one, but I'm not one. I'm X-Gen. So then we see this conversation between these two again. And I can't remember what was going on here. Do you recall? Because
Oh, yeah. He noticed that his bank account has been deactivated, right? Isn't that what's going on?
that was
there?
it. And so what's going on is things are happening right now on because of Jack Ryan. And this bank account, because I can't remember why this bank account, because this is before Jack Ryan does what he does.
Well, they discover that they have nothing on 9 operations, and Ryan suggests to just stop the money, to stop whatever's going on.
Did he already do that?
I don't
Maybe
think we've
that's what he
seen
did.
the
I
scene
thought-
yet.
Because I thought that was in what we see in the office scene. And he says, we're
Yeah.
going to shut him down. No, that might have been in the conversation he had with his boss. That I suspect that it worked it down to 9 Black Op operations, that it could be one of them. And she goes, well, what do you want to do? And he goes, I think I want to shut them down. All of
But
them.
it's the only
She goes,
thing they
and
can
she
do
says,
is stop the
she
money.
says, "Is that a suggestion?" And he goes, or is it a question? He goes, "A suggestion?"
But it's the only
She
thing
goes-
they can do is stop the money. There's nothing else because they have nothing. They just know it's 9 operations, but that's all.
And so all 9 of them get shut down. And that's why that's why they didn't get paid. And that's what leads to this conversation here. That's right. So that conversation did happen when they were talking. Okay. Then you are not a boomer, or he was not a boomer. Oh, wait. Yes, he is a boomer. He is a boomer. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. In fact, that's the perfect definition. My dad was a boomer.
I knew I have seen this guy before.
Where?
He's the Yakuza. He's the Yakuza from Predators.
That
Japanese guy.
Oh, that guy.
Yes, this one.
Oh, I got to go back and watch it. That's a good movie. It's not great.
I like
but it's
Predators.
good. I like that scene between him and the Predator. The sword comes out. Fuck, that was cool. Now, there we finally meet his wife. And it's a quick scene. Get ready, is what he tells her. The plan is a go. We don't know what the plan is. Look, some redacted shit on that. You thought you had top clearance. You don't. Shit's redacted.
Oh ho ho! Bridge from Jeebus.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Did I say something that sounded like estrogen?
I think in that scene we just saw, Greer discovers that he has put on another layer of encryption. So now even he can't figure out.
Yeah, he's like, it's too complicated. Let me get something here for him. Let's see. Oh wait, we don't. Is this the main one? Where's our fucking backdoor one? There they are.
I don't know.
There they are. Let me find one. There it is.
Maybe we can get in through the back door.
And here's the thing. Gerry says what he says is true. His dad was conceived during World War.
That's what I was talking about when I said, "Oh, your dad is a boomer." Then
No, boomers are conceived before, after.
if they were conceived during the war, it's considered being a boomer.
It's
Okay.
My dad was born in 44 and my 42, and my mom was born in 44. So
During or after?
That is during.
No, I'm
42?
saying it's during or after. You know,
Yeah.
all the way until the 60s. And then somewhere in the 60s, if you were conceived right around 64, you're considered still up at that point, possible boomer, depending on who your parents were. But I was born in 64, but my parents were boomers and themselves. And so therefore I wasn't. I was born in, you look at, it's also behavioral. You look at the fact that how I was raised as an X-Gener. I act like an X-Gener. I think like an X-Gener. Because we have our own way of thinking. So
Is that what I am then? Gen X?
65 to 80 is Gen X with a grace period before and after.
There's
After
always
Gen
a
X,
buffer. There's not an exact date. There's a window, and you one way or the other. It depends on your parents.
And if you
What's
were born
after
in
Gen X?
Who?
What's after Gen X?
Millennials.
Millennials, and then after millennials is Gen Z.
Okay, so I don't know what I am.
What year you're born? You were born
82.
in right.
You know that.
So you're still in the Gen X
buffer zone.
Also count as a
You're in that
millennial.
buffer zone for Gen
She
X.
could be reclaimed for both camps.
Yep.
There's actually a term for that. If you were born like from 80 to 85, you're a Zennial with an X.
Oh, this shit is just crazy. Let's
That's
get back to
never heard that.
it.
Yeah, I like that. The Zennial. I like that.
Darius, I can't think of Darius anything else.
Oh, the family scene with the shitty teenage son.
His daughter. Yeah, and the son, this is the thing that Anna and I complain about is the inability to write teenagers. But there's something interesting here. I just think they pulled it off wrong. I think that the attitude is just too obvious. I think it should have been more subtle.
Yeah, because he's trying to make things right again with his family. And of course, his son has to act all shitty and stuff.
Yeah, it's you abandoned us. And
we don't need that to know that he's trying to repair things with his family. We didn't need that teenage explosion.
You know, the son is acting like he abandoned him for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's been a very short fucking time that the separation happened.
It's insulting the audience's intelligence.
They just do this in everything. They write.
I know. I just have to call
now the daughter is pretty good. I think she's a little smart aleck. I thought she was funny. The son's all brooding.
Yeah.
And all right, Dad, man. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Have a good one.
Bye, Dadman.
So he's just pure fucking attitude. Thinks to just lose. And he yells after him, and she apologizes and goes, "Hey, it's all right, man."
He needs more time.
Try to pull that one in Latin America. Well, from my generation.
Yeah, get a sandal or something like that, right? Smack it.
No.
Chocolate.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
no. You don't even get to that.
My favorite
on the state of death.
My favorite comedian that talks about that shit was so funny when he talked about it. That Greer, you can tell there's hopes that they're going to work things out, when they're talking there. But yeah, this comedian talks about his mother. He said, because he looks so white, and he goes, "People look at me and think I'm just so white." But he says, my mother's Cuban, and he does this perfect impression of her. And she's like, I came home from school one day. He says, "Don't ever tell your Cuban mother that you had a rough day." "Oh man, it was a rough day." "Really? Really?" And she's stirring something as he's doing the impression. She goes, "Like escaping from communist Cuba? Rough?" He's like, "Never mind."
Did you see the special in which he narrates his stepdad? He's a Venezuelan ex Air Force pilot. And he didn't know about that. And he's an Air Force pilot too. So he narrates when his stepdad tell him that he had flown F-16s and shit. That he was, "What? You don't think that's important to know for your kid?" And they shut at you and said, "Yeah." That is a very good special, man.
I would like to point something out. It feels really weird not to have taken a break. I feel like screaming, "Hey, we haven't taken a break yet."
It does feel weird, but
we'll eventually come back to it once we get a paying sponsor.
Yeah, the fact is that the new ad break was too short anyway to go to the toilet or get another drink. It was just 1 minute, so.
Here we see Ding again. I forget what's going on here now. This is his team. What's left of it, because the other guys that he sent out are dead. So he's got this team that's getting ready to go out on another op.
Well, they go meet the Myanmar people on the dock, and then take Chow.
Yeah, they got to go. Basically, the goal is to take out what's getting ready to happen here. And here you see Ding meeting with his cousin again. Going to go to the shore to meet this guy from Myanmar. And he wants to personally be here to see what's going on. Check out and what it is he's wanting to meet the dude from Myanmar wants to meet them.
Chow wants to meet Marquez.
Yeah, he wants to meet him.
It's Chavez's job to take him there, but he has already planned to abduct Chow.
Yep. And of course, his cousin here has no idea of Ding's ulterior motives at all.
Oh, yeah.
So you are, because as the audience, you're starting to pick up that Ding is not what he appears to be.
But that dude is just too arrogant to notice anything.
Oh, his cousin? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to see the new two new episodes. You'll enjoy
today.
it. Yeah, they dropped last night.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed them.
You know my schedule. You know when I'm available for watching stuff.
Again, I have not memorized it yet. Thank you.
What kind of boyfriend are you?
I
The
just
regular
started
guy?
yesterday.
One who runs a channel and has an art career.
John,
Okay,
I just
fair
started
enough.
yesterday. So the only thing Gerry knows is that I don't have
One
to
day
do
on the
my-
job, and I need to memorize her fucking schedule.
Yeah. No. We only figured out that I don't need to take off Friday from the show because we
Oh,
can
this
decide
is cool
when to do
too. We get to
shifts, so-
see the drug facility. So he gets a
Oh,
tour
yeah.
of the facility, and we'll be back here again. We get to see this place again later.
Does RoboCop
in
show
episode
up
3.
in this?
No, I wish. That would be so fucking cool. Or there, yeah. Drop your guns, or there will be trouble.
Where's all the people in their underwear packaging the drugs?
That's not the packaging. That's the manufacturing.
That's the manufacturing,
Ah.
It's a
right? Because
lab.
the triad is going to provide ingredients for the Mexicans to make their drugs.
Yep. So here we are on the shoreline for this drop-off, this big drop-off, a major delivery shipment. Okay. And so they get to meet for the first time at Chow and him. And Ding's men are already surrounding them. But here's the problem. The flow of money.
Mm-hmm.
The flow of money stopped. And that means that cop is going to bust them.
Oh no,
And
that's
what it is.
Morales who busts them. That's the cousin who sends in the police. Because the police guy who is in on it is also taken by surprise when shit goes down on the dock. It's a complete fuck up, the whole mission.
No, the
Because the
reason why
money
the
stopped.
cops, the money stopped. Nobody has anything to do with this assault. It is because the money stopped and he didn't get his money, the cop. And so he sends his people in to remind them, you want us to turn a blind eye, you have to pay us. And so they do a full-on assault here, guns blazing. This isn't
Shit
a
hitting the
bust.
fan.
This is an absolute fucking slaughter going on here. And
Yeah.
anybody who gets out of here is fucking lucky because a couple of the weapons firing are not 30 caliber. Those are 50 cals.
Ugh.
I wouldn't mount a 50 on boats that size. I know how those fucking things shake.
Well, they're not going to be accurate on that kind of platform.
So the cousin gets out of there, but Ding turns around and goes back, and so does Chow. Chow gets out of there with who I thought is his kid, but we find out later, I think in episode 3, who that kid really is.
I thought his bodyguard was his son.
And this is where one of his team gets killed. And it just aggravates him when anybody in his team gets killed.
He lost a lot of people.
Monkey says, just accused her of making everything about her. I won't do that to Anima. She doesn't do that.
No, I really don't.
But that's it. They get out of there alive. Ding is pissed that one of his guys is dead.
And Chow tells his wife that plans have changed. Don't get on a plane, stay put.
Yep. And that's her and
Just
the little
in
girl
time.
ready to fucking leave. And they can't leave Myanmar. They got to go
10
back.
minutes later, they would have been on a plane. So that was close.
Now we cut to
He's
Potomac,
working
of
out.
course.
Yeah.
That's the kid, Francis Scott Keybridge there. And he's doing his thing. He likes to go punting is what that's called.
He's one of those Ivy League grads, of course.
Yes. Former Marine, though. Don't forget that. He's a fucking jarhead. And I'm trying to remember. She says something about you need to go do something, and you might want to change your clothes.
Yeah, she needs him to be at that Nigerian gala event.
That was it. Gala event. You need to meet some people.
Because the guy who was killed in the beginning was the president of Nigeria in Lagos. That is what set off all what's happening.
Yeah, it's what leads to everything that's going on. And we haven't even gone back yet to Lagos yet. And I don't think we go back to them until third episode. I think that's the first time we go back. We meet people here in the DC dinner thing from Nigeria and such.
Wait, Nigeria has a president, so the prince is not real?
Well, not anymore. He's dead now.
And we meet two people because Kathy is there to meet somebody else. She just happens to be there. She's not his date. She actually has somebody to meet there.
Yeah.
And so they're happy, lucky to see each other. And that's who she's there to meet right there, that woman. And Ryan and his boss, or his boss in particular, needs to talk to that gentleman on the right who is a survivor of Lagos.
He's a lobbyist.
Yeah, he's a lobbyist. I hate lobbyists.
Me too.
Worst part of our country. Worst thing we have right now are lobbyists.
That whole scene was too much politics for me, to be honest.
I don't care. Suleika is there.
Oh, Penny, if you got one of those people from the Near East that says, "Hello, this is Todd." Hello, this is Denise. It's like, whatever, your name is not Denise. It's probably Dinesh.
Penny, they all suck. Customer services all suck for these companies. I just had a run-in with my old one from Croatia, and they just don't get shit sorted. It sucks. So good luck to you.
Now, this guy that she's talking to, he's one of those podium people that likes to stand up on a podium and preach. But she's attracted to him somehow, a personality or something. She just digs him. Doesn't agree with him, but digs him. And so we know now that this guy is going to be kind of a central character within the show.
Penny says that their name is Pat.
They can use fake names.
Oh, and here's where the senator kind of bumps into Ryan and makes a snide remark about you still working on showing us how honest you are, kind of thing. And in his own way, I think he's kind of threatening some of the shit that he says to Ryan. And it's like, it's not cool. And Ryan is starting to understand that he is going to eventually have to take action on something because they just seem to be really pinging on him, the Senate subcommittee. And he's trying to unravel everything, and they're just hassling him. So things have to change. And here she comes. She's going to sit down, and she wants to get Kathy to do work for her. And I think it's in Africa. She wants her to go to Africa. And
Kathy doesn't seem too keen on it, but she agrees to meet over lunch.
Yeah, let's meet over lunch because she's got she has a career, you know.
Yeah, she's really hesitant about that.
And she actually loves her family, you know. So you see that in the very first season. We'll watch it eventually, Annabelle. You'll get to see it. You see that she has very close ties with her family. It's one of the things that he likes because they meet at a family event. I think it's a wedding. And immediately connect.
She also has close connections to Ryan because she follows him home. And they want to have a nice little evening, just the two of them. Leftover pizza or something that he's taking from the fridge.
And there's Ding waiting for him. He goes in the other room, doing something, and then Ding puts a gun to the back of his head.
He's getting stuff from the fridge.
And he says, "Stop what you're doing." No, he just closed the door, and Ding is there and puts the gun to the back of his head.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Stop what you're doing."
No, he says, "Fund Pluto." That's what he says. Fund Pluto.
No, I don't think he says Pluto.
Yes.
Turn Pluto back on.
Turn Pluto back on. Okay.
He mentions Pluto, and you know That's one of Miller's missions that he's trying to cover up and that he shut the money down on.
Because he says, turn it back on. He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he says, turn Pluto back on. And then leaves him. And that's the end of the episode. And boom. It's a great episode. I really fucking enjoyed this show. Now we can go quickly into episode 2.
Yes.
And it starts right up where it ends.
Cool,
Awesome
baby.
one.
And it's this episode where we find out that what? We find out that Ding is one of the good guys, and it's not surprising, really. You kind of figure it out during the first episode that he's on the good guy's side. I mean,
now if they followed
I
the
haven't
book,
seen anything
we
that happens
actually,
before that.
if they had followed the book, you would have met Ding while he was still military.
Damn, Jesus
And
in
he
the
gets-
CIA?
And technically, Clark is not the person who recruited him. It's another character. But Clark is the one who sends him to South America to take out some of these drug facilities.
That analyst is so funny. That analyst,
The
that
analyst is
below
really
my-
cool.
That's above my pay grade. He's scared to get into this because
And he
he's
sees the
investigating
Pluto's
Pluto
here.
now.
And he sees the clearances required. And
Yeah.
he is, and Ryan goes, out of the way. He types in a password because he
Hi, Sax. Carl is here.
Oh, Kyle.
Ah.
Kyle. Hey, Kyle. Let's see. I got something for you, Kyle.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
Freaking Gerry's
That
best.
scene watching that movie, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta clip that.
That's how we get our clips.
So he's gets logged in, and I'm trying to remember. He's trying to find out what Operation Pluto is what it is.
Yes, and in
fuck is
the
Pluto?
process, he finds out that almost all agents are inactive, but Harris, Ding, is not just active, but it's also linked with all the 9 missions.
I thought he just wanted to watch the new Godzilla channel.
You never know with the CIA.
Yeah, that's right.
So, cut back to South America. Is it South America or Myanmar?
No,
I
I
can't remember.
think we're in Myanmar.
Oh, it's Myanmar. Yeah, I see
Because
those trees.
Chow and his bodyguard son have managed to escape.
You think his son? It's not.
And
You want me to go
I was-
tell you who he is? That's
I
his
was sure that's his-
brother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
That is the brother of his wife. And he's meeting with his boss, even though he doesn't treat him like a boss. He talks to him like a child. You don't know what you're talking about, kind of stuff. They know
he has-
something's.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, he has to report that shit went wrong in Mexico, and his boss, I think, tells him that the Mexicans were just as surprised by the things that happened at the dock. So it was an all-around clusterfuck. It wasn't an attack by the Mexicans on a triad. It was just shit went down, and they don't know why yet, I think.
Well, eventually everything gets put together because, again, the flow of money was cut off. And he's directly involved with that flow of money. Because technically, Dean works for him. And we find that out later. You'll find out. You'll find out in episode 3.
Okay.
I like what they're doing with the show. Even though it's not clear and present danger, you can feel the DNA of clear and present danger. In this
There he
season.
is. They just found Ding, and that he's still active and involved with all the missions.
Acting deputy director. She's acting director. He's acting deputy director.
That's such a clumsy title.
It just means he hasn't been approved by Congress yet.
Acting deputy director, ADD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the word. Yeah, what John's talking about is the word acting.
Yeah.
You're acting as until you're approved by Congress. And so he now has to go meet Ding. because of that note. Meet me here.
Yeah, well,
It
they need
annoys
to,
him that he's been in his car on CIA property.
they
Because
need
those
to
are secure
discuss
grounds.
Pluto.
A lot of people don't know security changed for the CIA after that guy went through the parking lot shooting people. You remember that shit? Anybody remember that?
No.
I do. It's in one of my scripts.
Oh, that scene was so cute.
Oh, the
And
daughter's
his daughter's hiding.
It's so
And he
fucking
pretends.
cute. That kid is
He's
so
like,
cute.
oh, she ran away. Such a shame. I got a gift for her. And she starts giggling. That's cute.
Trying to show that he has qualities other than being a gangster.
Yeah, well, but then he brainwashes her into believing that it was a dream that she went to the airport. And in reality, she was going to the doctor.
This
That's
is
just wrong.
Well, it's not brainwashing. It's a mixture of gaslighting, but also it's just it's foul doing this. But I understand it's for their safety. It's for her safety he's doing this. But it doesn't mean you got to like it. He's doing this because they could get killed.
Yeah.
If it was found out that they were at the airport.
If he's
He in
concerned
particular
about
could be
her
killed.
safety, he should go legit.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you don't get involved in shit like that when you have a
Because the
young
whole
family.
thing that he's working towards is getting the fuck out of Myanmar, taking money and running with his family and hiding in another country. I don't think that's smart when you're dealing with an organization like the Triads. I don't think it's smart at all.
Yeah, on the other hand, he was very keen in the first episode to expand the market and deal with the Mexicans.
Well, being the devil's advocate here, being out of Myanmar's, it always is. It's a good idea. Not being there.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Okay.
go there.
You don't want to stay in Burma.
Burma's crap. Beautiful. Wouldn't want to go there.
No.
So this is where they strike up a friendship. It really begins here. I wish it had been more like the book, but I do like what they're doing here. They're showing that we're both after the same thing. Then, okay, yeah, I want to take them down. Ryan's like, I want to take them down. Ding, I want to kill them. That's their two approaches. I want to take them down. I want to kill them all. And I tended to be on Dean Chavez's side. It's like, yeah, kill those motherfuckers. Put them in prison, pay for them for the rest of their lives. No, fucking take them off the planet.
We have a question from Zax.
I like Krasinski. I know script doesn't like him. I like him because Jack Ryan is a nerd. He's supposed to come off as a nerd. He's not supposed to be heroic looking. And Krasinski's been trained. You know, he went through training for 13 hours, and he is very adept with weapons. And I think that's perfect. I think they went with Ryan in a way that still, unlike in the books, they play him off as a book nerd that used to be a Marine and broke his back, was lucky to ever walk again, and you know, in that helicopter crash. But the fact is Jack Ryan is looks like a nerd. He looks like a CIA analyst. But the fact is, he's a Marine. He's combat effective. Every Marine is combat effective.
Doesn't mean they can't be a nerd as well.
You know, those extra weeks of training that they get, because they get their basic training is longer than any other branch for a reason. They get into the hardcore details of weapon handling, breaching. They do rappelling. They do all sorts of shit in their basic training. It's so different from Army. We didn't do that shit until AIT or at Permanent Party. Of course, you were throwing people. You're clearly kaiju. Your name's Monkey.
Monkeys throw things. That's what they
I
do.
have seen this other guy elsewhere.
The
I know
doctor?
Script personally, and he's not jaded. He's not jaded at all. We argue. He and I argue. People don't know Script and I argue in private. We argue all the time. I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff, but we agree on a lot of things too. It's like Keith. You know, Keith and I agree a lot, and then we disagree a lot.
I think it's good for any relationship to not agree 100% on everything. Because
Absolutely.
That's boring.
It'd be a weird life.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you, like if you ever read that script, I'll let you read it, The New Vikings. Every argument that takes place in that script between two of the main characters is Mac and me arguing. They're based on real
you've talked me
arguments
through
we've
it.
had.
You've talked me through the whole thing.
We had so many fucking arguments.
Yeah.
No, you didn't have any arguments. That was all in your head.
He would get so mad at me. And I've made the joke, I can't have nice things because of Mac, because he would get so aggravated with me because he knew I was right, and it would piss him off that I would get snarky with him because I proved that he was wrong. And that one time he chucked a fucking grapefruit at my head and missed me and hit my a gift sword I had. It was meant to look like ivory, but it was actually what do you call it? Resin replica of a Chinese sword. In its case, a ceremonial sword, and it was gifted to me by the guitarist in my band. And I love that thing, man. It was so cool looking. He hit that thing and broke it, and I just looked at him and I said, "This is why I can't have nice things, because you're a terrible shot." I said, "I'm what, 10 feet?" And it made him even madder that I'm mocking him for missing me.
Gerry, you should have seen the stink eye he gave me when he took your phone at that garden party and wandered off talking to me. And then after like 15 minutes, I was like, yeah, I better return you to Gerry. And I said to him, yeah, he doesn't like having things stolen by you. And he gave me a major stink eye. and he giggled and he handed his phone back to you.
Yeah, because
like,
if he likes something that I have, I will never see it again. Like,
he's never going to steal me, as much as I like him.
He took my Irish hat I bought from Donegal, Ireland.
I know.
Wool, hand stitched. That thing was expensive, and he fucking took it. I'll get it back to you. No, he didn't. Okay, this is a really good scene. This is where we meet what's his name? Tim or something, whatever his name is. He's
Tim?
the guy that's in charge of communicating with this group, setting things up.
Tuttle, Agent Tuttle, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he goes by a code name.
Because he was the one on the phone with the operators in the very beginning of the first episode.
And
he's
Greer
the one they contacted.
Ryan gives the job to Greer to go talk to this guy.
Oh no, that's Miller.
Miller, that's it, Miller.
Yeah, I keep mixing those guys up.
And then he brings up the name Pluto.
Oh, so this is Jason Jones' character.
Yeah,
the Admiral.
Greer.
Oh.
They changed him for the show. I didn't like it because Greer was somebody who knew in the military that followed through into the CIA, and he was already like way up the chain in the CIA.
He was an admiral, if I remember.
He's admiral yes, we've established he was an admiral. He's Admiral Greer, but he also worked for the CIA, and they knew each other from the military. Greer and him. And Greer moved into the CIA, then Ryan did. And I've always suspected that he may have been the person who brought him over. I don't recall it ever being said in the books, but I always suspected that's part of their relationship because they knew each other in the military. But anyway, Greer confronts him here and says the name Pluto. And Miller gets up and says, "You don't ever want to say that fucking name to me again. Not if you like your safety," threatening him, and just walks away from him. So,
man, that guy really hates Disney.
Yeah. How can you have two dogs in the Disney universe, one that talks and one that acts like a dog? It makes no sense.
The guy that plays Tuttle, he was Roose Bolton in Game of Thrones.
Thought he looked familiar. Yeah.
Every time you say total, I just go to Brazil.
Now, I got to tell you, this guy here is Mike November, and he is, in my opinion, their version of Clark. Clark will not make an appearance in his show. They tried. From what I read, they tried. Krasinski was directly involved with trying to get, what's his name, over to join them. But the rights issues was too complicated, even though Amazon's in charge of the film franchise with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
And Krasinski and Jordan met and talked that he wanted to bring him over and Jordan wanted to join the show. But the rumor mill has it that we will eventually see it happen in Ding Chavez's series. That we'll finally meet Amazon's version of Clark. But I think it's sad because this character, his name, like I said, is Mike November, which is clearly not his real name.
No.
That's military phonetic alphabet.
Yeah.
And so it probably represents his real initials, but we don't know what his real name is. And he is clearly supposed to represent Clark. And I like this character a lot. He's a lot of fun in the show. He has all these people in this fucking pool freaked out when he's yelling underwater, like crazy yelling. And then he comes up and they're all, look at him. Hey! Everybody's like, what the fuck is with this guy?
He's only coming up because he can hear his phone's
And that's
ringtone
one of those,
underwater.
exactly. And that's one of those Russian bathhouses. And they're crazy. I've always wanted to go to one, but I don't know. Russians freak me out.
I like how snarky he is with Ryan on the phone here.
It's the guy from the end of Transformers, Rise of Beasts.
Yeah. Oh, he's in there? Oh, man, I still have to watch that.
Yeah, he's in the end, the really cool scene that
That
I got
you
all
told me
excited
about?
for. Yeah, I got all excited
but-
for, yeah.
Okay, but please don't. Please don't.
Now, this is where we meet the bad guy again. We still don't know exactly what he is, but he's clearly dangerous.
Of course, he's that actor. He only plays bad guys.
And he's at a recital for his daughter. He has to get up and leave it. And Miller is telling him, I'm calling you to let you know Ryan's a problem. He goes, now, are you alerting me? Because you shouldn't be calling me unless you're actually alerting me that this is a problem. And so he gets out the phone, he gets on the computer, starts writing these, and these are codes. And this will come back later again in another scene with Ryan, and in the third episode. And now he calls Myanmar because that was the code he was given to do, is to call him, and gives him the update on Ryan and the situation, the threat. And I can't remember what Chow says here. I can't remember.
Isn't that why he hears Ryan's name for the first time?
It is the first time he hears Ryan's name. And he's like basically letting him know that they're aware of us. How much do they know? And is this something that we can stop? And I got to tell you, people that live in houses with windows without curtains freak me out.
Yeah.
They fucking freak me out. I would never live in a glass house without curtains. Or
I have blinds. I can't have curtains. I have crazy cats.
I love being able to look out, but at nighttime, fuck that.
Yeah.
Weirdos out there, even a fucking raccoon jerking off looking into my house. That would weird me out. But Ding shows up at the house and does a really good job of scaring the shit out of Miller.
Oh, yeah.
And he drinks his whiskey. Good whiskey. That's really good. He goes, get that money turned back on. He just basically tells him, I'm going to fucking kill you. And he brings up, I think, is this the scene? Yeah, he brings up the dog tags. 7 dog tags of his team dead. 7 of my guys are dead. He goes, and the guy starts to reach for him, and he yanks him away from him. He goes, you have no right to touch those.
Yeah, that upsets him, losing his guys.
So
He
he
really
says,
takes that hard.
you do what I'm telling you here, it's over for you. I will kill you.
It's weird seeing Michael Pena in a role this intense.
Yeah, because he's so good at comedy. He's also really good at drama. But the fact is, he's just a natural with comedy. Yeah, he points out his collector's baseballs. He's a cool character. I really like Dean Chavez, and not just because I've always been infatuated with him from the books or the games. I just think he's a cool character. I like the way he's written. And he's always a bit of a smartass. And he leaves him, and it's like, this guy knows his days are numbered. Because every single person he's involved with could have him killed. And then he tells his boss, it's official. You are warned. Jack Ryan's on us. Now, I immediately knew this woman that's wanting to meet with her for lunch, there's something up with her. I don't know if it's because of the casting or what, but her
Something
character,
is fishy.
something's fishy about her. And
she's the. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, she's the girl from The Lone Gunman.
I have not watched that in a long time. I forget who's in it. So I'm just telling you, right from the get-go, I didn't trust her. So now I'm trying to remember what's going on here in this scene, because I know he's got to fill her in on everything that's going on. Yeah, that's right. He's giving her all the information, everything that's happening, who's doing what, and what do you want to do with this? And then she's like, if this is what's happening, we have one more person we need to bring into this conversation.
The president.
The president of the United States needs to be made aware of what's going on here and the parties involved. And Jack knows it. You can see that look. Oh, shit. We got to talk to the president again.
Yeah, he's not enjoying that.
Now, this is for the president, it's a stressful conversation, but it's a necessary one. And
he also wants her to go to Lagos and meet with the new president, because that situation down there needs to be investigated.
Which, of course, brings her back to meeting with that other dude. The
lobbyist, yeah. Damn, I didn't write down his name. I had to speed through that episode because the shitty version of that site that I'm getting now doesn't allow me to jump forward in 10 seconds or do the speeding up, which sucks.
That's an intense stare if you have ever seen one.
And so often, back in the day, whenever you'd see the White House used in a movie back in the 2000s and stuff, late 90s, it was often the same set that was used by the West Wing. And I still wonder, because I don't think that set's ever been destroyed. I think they still use it.
Gerry,
it has very reusability. Why would you tear it down?
Was it in this series where we thought we could see something like a birdhouse outside the window?
No. That was in real life. There was a photo of Biden speaking supposedly from the Oval Office, and there's a tree house. It looks like a tree house behind him. And I'm
like a bird feeder or something. Yeah.
I'm like, but that's really weird. I've never noticed that before at the Oval Office. And what it was is someone was saying it's not really the Oval Office.
That just popped into my head out of nowhere. Because we tried to investigate that and we couldn't find out anything.
Yeah, I could look it up. Somebody probably looked into it.
I'm sure somebody else noticed.
But what was the outcome of this? Like, what was the decision? Because he has to speak to her alone. And so Ryan steps out so he can give her some marching orders.
I think
that was to go to Lagos was one, but it seemed like there was something else going on. I can't remember what it is. I think it had to do with Ryan himself.
Yeah, she assures him, I think, that he would be able to manage it.
He's the right guy for this.
She doesn't want to go.
Is Ryan the right guy for this? And she says, yes, Ryan is the right guy for this. And she even says it in a later episode. It's like, the thing you got to understand about Ryan, I think something and Ryan's already doing it. We're very simpatico. And I like that she defends him like that. I like these shots because I used to hang out in DC all the time. It's fun watching this. So this is where Ding lets him know, you've got one shot. You take care of this or I'm going to take care of it my way. And then we cut to her talking with him over the phone. Let's meet. Let's have a conversation.
She wants him to come with her as the advisor or something.
Well, they want to meet, and she's going to talk to him about it, yeah.
Because the president still thinks that she's the right person to do it.
And he doesn't,
like, yeah,
and he's not sure, and he wants to think about it.
He's not sure about Ryan, yeah.
No, he's not sure about going.
Oh, yeah, the guy, yeah.
And then we cut back to this shit with this piece of shit here. I hope that he's somehow connected to all of this in the end. See, I don't like his smug ass. But this time it's her in front of him. And she begins to take some heat for Ryan. Or because of Ryan. And this is going to lead in episode 3 to a decision that Ryan makes. And I'm not going to spoil it yet. We'll talk about it next week.
She is trying to make the CIA look good again, I think.
She's trying to make the CIA work. It's a real problem right now.
At least what she is doing for the CIA is a noble cause. That's her argument there.
Exactly. And of course, here, I think this is the final scene where we have Ryan and Ding talking. Oh, no, Miller.
Miller.
Yeah, this is great. Oh, shit.
Miller chews him out.
Miller's like, they're watching everything. He goes, if they're so on top of things, what makes you think they're not watching us right now? Ryan shoots back at him, and then suddenly he gets that look on his face of, oh, shit, you're right. And he knows he's fucked.
Ryan
Miller
went behind his back,
fucked.
turning off the operations. That's why Miller is angry with him.
And he tells him, he says, turn him back on. He goes, I can't.
Hey,
nothing
Ariel.
to be done now. Hey, Ariel. This is, we're talking about Jack Ryan, episodes 1 and 2. This is episode 2. This is where he meets with Miller and explains to Miller, you're going to come to work for me. He's telling him, you're going to come to work for me. You're going to work for me. You're going to do things for me. You're going to keep doing what you're doing. You're going to do it for me. And I was like, fuck you. Turn it back on. And he's like, it can't be turned on. And that's where he gets mad right here. There it is.
Well, he also gets mad because Ryan wants to be put in contact with Chow. And Miller is like, that's not
these
going
people
to happen.
will fucking kill you.
Yes.
They're watching. They're always watching. He goes, if they're always watching, what makes you think they're not watching us now? And that's when he turns and looks. He goes, you're right.
You see, this is a backdoor reference. A very veiled one, but it is there.
Yeah.
The back way to DC.
Miller runs off because Ryan says, who says they're not watching you now? They could kill you right now, right here. And that's when Miller tries to get back to safety, but Tuttle is following him.
Yeah, and of course, Greer's waiting for him in the parking lot, and they want to follow him, but they're too far behind him when they get out of there. And
yeah, Ariel, that's Jack Ryan's from the Tom Clancy books.
Yep,
and movies.
This is the TV version. This season is adapted from Clear and Present Danger, but they made changes to fit this version of the character, and they could not get rights to Clark without spending a lot more money. So he's not in this one. Mike November, his buddy, is the replacement for Clark in this series. And but the rumor is that they're going to get Michael B. Jordan to play Clark in the Ding Chavez series. He will appear in it, along with doing his own movies, which Ding in turn could appear in his movies, which I would like. I did not like the first movie. I didn't think it was very good with Michael B. Jordan. I thought it was badly written, but I liked him. It's like, yeah, Clark was white in the books and in the movies, but the fact is I don't care. He's not the established superhero or something. He's just a character. So here we see this guy again.
Yeah, we have Ryan and Greer
he forces
hurrying
him
after him.
He
And-
forces him.
Hold
on, honey. I want to explain what's going on here on camera.
I want to see what's going on while this is
Oh,
going
I'll
on.
pause it then. Oh.
Because they are speeding after him as he's rushing home, and they are alerting. Ryan is alerting Chavez, so he's also
Dean
on his
Chavez,
way there.
I know Dean is on his way, but I want to explain what they're looking at right now.
Yeah, now it's
So what's going on is this guy sees him as a loose end. So he is got his arms tied behind his back very quickly with a rubber, very good rubber band, and forces his mouth open, puts drugs in it, forces it down with whiskey covering his mouth, making him swallow most of them. Not all of them, but most of them. And
injects something
then
into his head.
he releases him after a few minutes and slams him into the desk and injects into the back of his skull something. Clearly, probably the same thing that's in the pills for a clear and obvious overdose. And Ding is on his way because he's been given the orders to go there by Ryan. And Ryan and Greer are clearly too far behind to do anything, to be of any use here. There's the injection into the back of his head, his neck. It actually goes into the lower section of his skull.
Yeah, just where hair would cover it, so nobody would find out.
Not look for an injection site. He goes into the place, finds him, but he's not dead yet. And he reaches over, sees Ding, grabs the Holy Bible, then falls to the floor dead. And Chavez is like, damn it, I wanted to kill him.
Yeah, well, he's fucked now because, as he tells them in the last scene, they're coming for me now. So,
because he didn't get what he needed from him.
and I really like how they did this, cutting back and forth. You see her at that meeting trying to make what she's doing for the CIA look good, and then cutting to the other guys to see what's really going on. Yeah.
And this leads to what like I said, Ryan has to make a decision in the third episode.
I can't wait to watch it.
In this very moment in particular. And they realize this is bad, and Ding's like, I'm next on the list. They're going to come after me. Yeah, Clark, I tell people in the movie, it makes it look like Clark is the guy who recruits Ding. And that's not true. He was recruited by somebody else. But Clark knew him and knew of him, his skills. And he's the one who goes and gets him for that mission. He didn't recruit him, but he is the guy that recruited him for that specific mission that they used in I can't remember, was it Bolivia? I think it's Bolivia, right? Not Colombia in the movie. It might be Colombia, though, because they had a lot of valleys in there. So I don't know. I have to go back and look. Been a long time since I read the book and since I saw the movie. But this is a great show. I really do enjoy it. It only had 1 week season. That was season 2. So many problems. Like if you're going to use real world countries and situations, then you better not fudge it. And of course, Bezos is a socialist, which means he's a commie. And the people he hires tends to be. And so they pushed to make a commie look like a good guy in that season. That's why that season was weak, and that's why it didn't do as well. I was surprised they got a third season because viewership was low. But third season came back, and they had gotten rid of the showrunner and brought in new showrunners. Those guys were woke too. But for some reason, season 3, very good. And I'm very pleased with 4. And the reason why, from what I hear, is Krasinski is quietly actually show running as the executive producer on both seasons. Yeah, Columbia University is a dangerous place. We've seen it in Ghostbusters.
Well, Krasinski's one of those ones that has love for the character.
Yes, he's a big fan. And what I noticed this season, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes interviews between him and the actor who plays Greer. And I've not watched them yet, but I've been wanting to watch their interviews where they're talking about the whole idea of what they were doing with this final season. And it is the final season, according to them. They don't want to do anymore. I don't know why, because this should be an ongoing series. They have so many fucking books. I wish it would do the adaptations, but I guess they want to go off and do Ding Chavez instead. Which I'm fine with, because I fucking love Ding Chavez. It's one of my favorite characters.
He is a cool character. But yeah, I can't wait to watch more, because Miller's death is going to spark some events.
Yeah, and my favorite moment. Hold on, let me go check. Tom Clancy orders. Is that it? I've always wanted that one to be turned into a film. If that is the one I'm thinking of, oh man, it's not. Tom Clancy, because I've read them all, but it's been 20 years since I've talked about them. Let's get up this way, order of books, because it was the one that follows it.
Well, season 2 that had the lower viewership, Ariel, not 3.
Yeah, lower viewership was on season 2. Season 3, it came back up again. Cardinal was the 4th book, right?
Cardinal in the Kremlin?
Yeah. It was the 4th book, right?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right. It's been years.
Hunt for October, Clear and Present Danger, Red Rabbit, Debt of Honor. Or am I... Let me...
Red Rabbit was farther down, I thought.
Okay, here it is. I'm reading it the wrong way. Okay. Executive Orders was the one when he became president at the end.
Yeah.
And then Without Remorse was the next one. And that's the one that has one of my favorite moments in it, where Ding Chavez and Clark are guiding a missile, because he gets a phone call. The villain in the story gets a phone call from Ryan saying, hey, go to your window. And he goes and looks out his window. And he looks up and he's like, smile for the camera. There's a camera on the fucking missile coming in at him that they're guiding in, that Clark and Ding are guiding in locally. A drone missile or some shit like that. It's fucking great, though, because they get him on camera being killed. Ordered directly by the president of the United States for them to kill him. And Ding and Clark do it. That was a cool fucking moment. And I think that is the last moment in the book after everything gets cleared up. There's some crazy shit. You have a cell within the what do you call it? Secret Service. And again, his family's in danger. His child's in kindergarten. Their new kid, because I think they had 2 kids by that book. And the one kid is in daycare, and they're going to kill him. And then his own Secret Service man is an assassin too. It's fucking crazy. Tom Clancy, man, because I don't think he's that good a writer. Because a lot of people don't know that he had a ghostwriter for all his books. What he did is he's a great accumulator of information with great story ideas. And then he brings in a writer to help flesh it out. His job, Clancy's job, is to put it all together. Yeah. And then it's the writer's job to come in and create the personal drama and help with the action and breakdowns of the scenes. And I don't think anybody's ever said who his ghostwriter is, but he had one.
Yeah.
But I love that also.
Not Chuck Wendig.
Every single time he wrote a book, CIA and the FBI would investigate him.
How do you know that?
Like, how do you know about that? and he would tell them it's in the Library of Congress. And they're like, what? There's information about a caterpillar drive in the Library of Congress. Yes, and caterpillar drives aren't that unknown, and I wouldn't be surprised. I joked about this years ago that, because I think his son's a better writer than him. What's his name? Joe Hill. And I said, Joe Hill probably secretly ghostwrites all of his books now. But I've always said about him, my thing about Stephen King, I think they're entertaining. But I hate his endings. I think the only ending I ever liked of his, it might be two. I love the ending of Pet Sematary. I liked it. I hated the ending of it. It was stupid. It was just dumb. So the rule of thumb, whenever I would write a review for one of his books for the magazines, I would say, close the book at the last chapter and make up your own ending. You'll be happier.
Yeah.
Oh,
My favorite King book ended well. It was Eyes of the Dragon.
I like the ending of the
Eyes of the
Running
Dragon.
Man.
I don't know that one.
That's his fantasy book.
I don't read his fantasy. I can't stand his fantasy. I tried to read what was it? The Tower or whatever the fuck that shit was.
Black Tower. Dark Tower.
The
Dark
first
Tower.
book, the very first one you wrote, I tried. I'm like, this is terrible. I don't like it. I didn't like it
Have
at
you
all.
read The Running Man?
I liked Running Man. I read that in school, dude.
Yeah. It's part of his
It was
Bachman
under
books.
Richard Bachman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some trivia for you. Do you know where he got that name from?
No, actually, I don't think I do.
This is the actual how it happened. He was on the phone with his brother-in-law, Richard, Tabitha's brother. And in the background, he was listening to Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Oh.
That's simple. It was really, like, I remember reading that back in the 80s going, that's cool. I love Bachman Turner Overdrive. I like Dead Zone. I can't remember how the book ended, though. I only remember the film ending. And I love the TV series.
If I remember right, he dies at the end.
Yes, but he crashes a plane into the television network.
Yeah.
Just in the office of the villain of the book.
By the way, this is what I brought up earlier. This happened back in 1993, and it ends up in one of my scripts. The incident of, there it is, Mir Amai Kansi. He was from Pakistan, and he went and started shooting people in the parking lot of the CIA. And that's when the CIA headquarters parking lot became secure. And they don't mess around, man. Look, I think that our agents and operatives for the FBI and CIA are really good people. They're good at their jobs. Our problem with all these agencies, DOJ, all of them, is corruption in the command.
And
that's why we're getting so many lower echelon people as whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Because they want good command. They want good leadership. And so they're coming out and whistleblowing on these people. They're tired of working for these fucking animals.
Yeah, you got people that are in there and they're secure in their job and they let their political orientation decide how they're going to do their job when they should be doing their job by the book.
Now, all these pro FBI shows that are on right now are secretly backed by the FBI.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, I know they are. FBI has done this since its very beginning, back when, what's his name, was the head of the FBI. He's the one who pushed for the production of the FBI Story with Jimmy Stewart. He's the one who backed the TV series, The FBI. And which was a good show, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. I love that show as a kid.
Well, the government's been behind movies and TV shows for forever. During World War II, when you had all the pro-soldier stuff, that was all backed by the government.
Yeah, propaganda films, and you can always spot a propaganda film when you see it. And absolutely, the FBI series, all of them, including the one that's being put out, Rookie, FBI rookie. All of them are done for propaganda purposes. And period. That's all they are. A lot of the CIA many years were Mormons. I'm going to tell you something. FBI too. Down in Arizona, Phoenix, right on I think it's on the south side of Phoenix, near South Mountain. There's a community, a retirement community. FBI, former FBI, retired. Majority of them, Mormon. That shit freaks me out. That shit freaks me out. It's like, why are there... I grew up with my buddy Mike Beatty. You've heard me talk about him. He's a Jack Mormon. His dad is a Jack Mormon, but they are Mormons. He was the senior field instructor for the FBI for like years. Patrick Beatty. Mormon. And I met other people through them, Mormons, that worked at the FBI. It's fucking weird. It's an inordinate amount of fucking Mormons in the FBI.
So did Warner Brothers.
Yeah, all the studios did.
Yeah.
Every single studio took part in propaganda for the war. They referred to it as the war effort, because here's the difference between modern society and the society of World War II. We want to fucking win this war, and we need to take a war footing. Everybody needs to take a war footing. But we go to war in the Middle East, and what do? They step up to the podium and go, everybody go on about your lives. We'll take care of this. Shop, spend money.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about putting people into war footing anymore. But nobody's really interested in winning a war anymore either. Tecumseh Sherman said it, you have to be willing to do worse than your enemy. You need to terrify them into surrender. And nobody wants to do that anymore because everything's covered by the media now. You go to war, media's there. And we saw that with Vietnam. We lost the war effort through the media.
Yep.
On the ground in Vietnam, those guys were knocking it out of the park. We had them beaten so badly, we forced them to the next best thing than surrendering. We got the enemy to go, North Vietnamese, to go to Paris for the Paris peace talks, so they could end the war and get us to stop killing them. People go, the VC, VC didn't exist after 1968. No, that's how bad it was for them. They were slaughtered by the U.S. military and the Australians.
Yeah.
It was a losing war at home, but on the ground in Vietnam, it was a winning war. We had finally crushed the enemy. We had demoralized them to the point. Because once we started bombing Hanoi, when Nixon did that, I changed the game.
Yeah.
And we cut off their food, their weapons. We cut off everything. Didn't need to worry about the Viet Cong anymore. They were dead. We killed almost all of them. They were nothing anymore. We were fighting only, after 1968, we were fighting the North Vietnamese, period, and sometimes secretly the Chinese.
Yeah. Didn't one of the generals want to nuke Hanoi?
Yeah. Yes, he did. Problem was we had Americans there, and they didn't want that done. We had people in prison there, prisoners of war. So basically, we beat them into submission, got them to go to the peace talks, forced them to sign a treaty, which would stop all aggression. And that was it. We won. It was over. It was over. All we had to do was make sure that they obeyed the rules of that treaty. That's all we had to do. And then the Democratic Congress defunded the war. A war started by a Democratic president. They defunded their own fucking war and forced us to flee Vietnam. And because of that, millions of people were murdered. Over 2 million were murdered by the Khmer Rouge alone, the communist faction, who freaked the North Vietnamese out. The North Vietnamese killed them, if you didn't know that. They're like, these guys are freaking even us out.
Yeah.
we gotta get rid of these guys. They didn't want to, but they were funding things. And so every once in a while, they were doing the same thing that the Americans did early on, where we just had advisors. But when you hear advisors, that means you have teams there. So,
Yeah.
And the Chinese did the same fucking thing. They definitely did it in Korea to a great margin. There was one battle that was not even the North Koreans that we were fighting. It was Chinese.
Well, you hear we have advisors somewhere.
You watch Don and me when we start talking history, and we'll go into that. And of course, yes, Monkey, yes, he served in North Korea.
You hear we have advisors somewhere. They're going to be CIA and they're going to be special forces.
Yep. A lot of times it's Green Berets, because Green Berets are the diplomats of the U.S. Army. Their job, because they are multilingual. That's one thing that's interesting about the Green Berets is to be a Green Beret, you have to be able to speak more than one or two languages. You need to be multilingual because they send these guys in, and part of their job is to connect with the community, the regional people, and build a relationship and a rapport with them. And so they're the diplomats of the U.S. Army. Yes, they're good killers. They're good fighters. But that is really one of their greatest functions, is as the diplomatic arm of the U.S. Army regionally. Why doesn't history classes and also other media that the Korean War started conflict is almost always, I'm not sure I understand that question. Here's something I don't understand. Why doesn't history classes and also other media mention, I guess, that the Korean War, no, you can say war, it's all right.
Yeah.
It was a police action. Technically, so was the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
We never declared war on anybody since World War I.
We had it declared
World
on
War
us.
II.
You have to go to Congress to get a declaration of war.
Yeah.
We had a declaration of war for World War I.
And
World War II, we didn't need one because Germany declared war against us and the Japanese attacked us. And immediately we were in a state of war. Korean conflict, there was no declaration. It was a police action. Vietnam technically was kind of the same thing. We went there to help them in an advisory role to fight the North Vietnamese communists from taking over the country. They wanted to be free.
Because technically we just have a ceasefire. We never actually ended the Korea.
It never ended. It's still, we have a ceasefire with North Korea. That's why you have what's referred to as the DMZ, the demilitarized zone between North. And here's something interesting. A lot of people don't know. If you get sent to North Korea or South Korea, and you have to work up near the DMZ, that is referred to as a hardship tour. You get a lot of extra money for being on that tour because there's that risk that you could be shot or killed by a rocket. It's a risk. It's a real risk. Hearts and Minds was a Green Beret doctrine. They embed with the locals. Exactly. That's what I was talking about, Cam. They are the diplomatic branch of the U.S. Army, Green Berets.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job of it. They did a fantastic job in Vietnam. I wish the movie, and if I could go back, I'd remake that book and make it correctly. Because even though John Wayne's character in there is based on a real guy, he's not in the book. He's just based on a real guy in Vietnam, Green Beret. The Green Beret book, that character is not in it. The main character in that book is David Jansen's character. He is the central character of that story. And John Wayne wanted to make a World War II movie for Vietnam, and he did, and it's silly. It's still worth a watch. There's some good stuff in it.
That
it really doesn't. It plays like a World War II movie. What's that, dude?
That I can't really answer for Ariel. She wants to know why in history classes they don't teach about it much.
Okay, get ready for this, because schools are run by socialists today. That's why. You'll get it in private schools. You know, you won't get it in public schools because public schools are a socialist program run by socialists. After the HUAC and the shit that went down with McCarthy, the commie socialist leftists in the United States, because they all, you know, three people that were being investigated by the House Un-American Activities Committee. The three groups were liberals, socialists, and communists. And all three of them are kind of tied in. That's why I tell people when they call a Democrat a liberal, I'm like, you shouldn't call them that. They are kind of liberal, but they're not liberals. Liberals were really what I refer to today as a leftist. They were the leftists in Hollywood. And they were soft socialist, soft commie. But it all leads to the same thing. You know, all socialism is democratically elected communism, and then communism steps in. The USSR is called the Union of Socialist Soviet Republic.
Right. Ariel, the leftists have been in this, and the socialists.
They started in the 60s.
Well, they started in the 60s, but they really got into the public school system really deep
late 80s.
in the 90s.
It was late 80s when it started.
Early 90s, yeah.
As some of the older teachers began to retire, they started hiring these graduates because this is where it got started, was on the campuses.
Yep.
Some of your higher learning. So they had these socialists, commies, that were professors. And once they become tenured, good luck getting rid of them.
Yeah.
That's why I don't believe in tenure. You know, you should constantly have to prove yourself worthy of your fucking job. And
the higher the rank the school, the more likely it's going to be.
So as the older teachers were retiring, these new young bucks would come in with all these novel ideas. And then they graduate and then they become teachers. And they began to slowly infiltrate in the 80s the school system, very slowly. And then by the 90s, they were all over the place in the United States in the public school system.
Now, I'm sorry.
This was just a plan. It was a plan that they needed to go underground after what happened with HUAC. We can't do the Hollywood thing. We can only do it in little bits. We can't do it major thing because their goal is to overthrow the U.S. And destroy the Constitution.
Well, that's because they're not liberal. They're leftists.
Yeah, a true liberal is a leftist, but we use the word liberal now for Democrat today, and it's not right, but at the same time, I've accepted it. It's like, so I don't refer to liberals when I complain about the Democratic Party lefties. I complain and I call them leftists because that's what they really are. They're leftists.
The root word of liberal is the same as liberty.
Yeah. That's why they chose that word.
Yep.
They're very selective in how they things. Like BLM, when they named that organization, they were commies. They were a communist group. That's all they were. They were Marxists. And they said, put that in the name and good luck destroying us and stopping us. They do that. They love to race bait. They love to play with race as a means to promote what they're doing. You're going to say something?
Yeah, Anima has to go. So we should send her.
Oh, you got to go, honey?
I think she's prepping for her departure. Well, and meanwhile,
yeah, I need to go to the store, and they close in half an hour, and you just keep going. So,
well, we don't have to end, and they're asking good questions. So go ahead, go grocery shopping, hon.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I was waiting for you to wrap it up, but you just keep going. So I'm going to jump out here.
Don't worry. Fucking want to. I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute. Anyway, I want to make sure I answer the question because.
What I wanted to say to Ariel is, if you are freaked out that they don't talk about Korea, well, now they don't want to talk about World War II because
they don't want to talk about it.
It would cause stress to the students. Have you heard something like that? That is bullshit.
By larger mansions is going bankrupt. What is that?
BLM. Yep. Black Lives Matter. By larger mansions. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Yeah. They were going to be short-lived because look, you're going to get found out.
They were based on a lie anyway.
Yeah.
And with that, bye guys.
Bye. Bye. So what are we talking about this afternoon?
Okay, and isn't BLM
No, they're not an anarchist group. They're a Marxist group.
Yeah.
Yep. Marxism wants to destroy the current government. So it appears as anarchistic, but it's not. What they want is a communist government.
Yeah.
They want a one world government. They want, all of us need to fall under. This is what Soros has been doing. He's been trying to break this country down. Now his kid's going to do it. He turned it over to his kid. And it's like, he is absolutely an enemy of this nation. Him and his family are enemies of this country. They are traitors. I'm going to say
they're enemies of humanity.
Period. Because they've been banned from other countries, including his own home country. He can't go home because of the shit that he did. He got caught. But America, you can get away with almost anything in this fucking country. Liberty is just what it is. It's liberty. And you can get away with shit here. That's why criminals love it here. But there's no question. I mean, if a certain person had remained president, they would be a terrorist organization. They would be considered one, and they would have been shut down.
Yeah.
Because of the violence that they've committed in the United States. They bring up January 6th like it's something. And they allowed Antifa and BLM to do the damage they did in cities. And people died. There was blood. Blood was drawn. A war was waged in this country. And the left ignored it.
We probably shouldn't get into politics.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm political, though.
I know, but
I'm not afraid to call things what they are.
It might not be good for the algorithm. We may get hit. So,
well, I'm being careful how I phrase things. Dragon Ruse, it is BS, Martin. I hate to say it, and I know people would probably beat me around. Why don't we go and then and really show people what it really is about? Look, what you do is you create islands, based off of what they want, and you go send them to that island, and go, let us know how that works for you. We'll give you a year.
If you do that, they will say that was not the real system because it was in an experiment isolated in an island.
That's how you do it. It's called a controlled group study.
Yeah. The whole planet.
They can argue all they fucking want to.
The whole planet needs to go commie for 10 years.
I'm just saying, a 2-cent Tokarov round will solve that problem. So. But we couldn't do it. That's punishing the rest of America because of a bunch of stupid people. No, we couldn't do it. But I get what you're saying, but no, because it will fail. It's always failed. Democracy always fails. There's no such thing as democracy working. It's never worked. So it always fails. Because the true form of democracy is anarchy. You have to vote on everything. And the worst part of democracy that people don't understand is if Tommy has a bicycle and owns it. He bought it, paid for it with his own money. And some guy named Timmy needs it. You can actually vote on that. That's democracy. Mm-hmm. You can vote to take that away from him. That's one of the reasons why, as much as I understand eminent domain, I have great issue with it. Because I think that it's unconstitutional. That you can force people.
Yeah.
Okay, Ariel, you're going to get a big fuck you from me for that one. We're so close to monarchy in this country, and Washington's the one that stopped it.
Yeah, because they wanted to make him king, and
they wanted to make him king.
Like,
Are you kidding? We just fought a war over this.
Yeah.
Greece was a republic. They had democracy. Okay. We used the democratic method within, just like they did, the democratic method, but we have what's referred to as, what are they? Representatives. We
have a new member.
Representatives.
Yep.
Whoa.
Kyrie Hansen.
Kyriel.
Yeah.
Kyriel. Well, thank you.
Thanks. Welcome.
That's really
to the
nice.
group.
Thank you very much. Glad you became a member. But basically, we are better than even Greece. Greece failed because it didn't have the one thing we do have. We are not just a republic. We are a constitutionally supported republic. Our republic is based off of a set of laws. And it's like I explained the other day on Wednesday, Don and I got into this. I said, the Declaration of Independence was our dear John to King George. We break with you, we break with you, we break with you, and then threw dog poop on his shoes. Yeah. And we went to war with him. And then in a few years later, we had the Constitution. And the Constitution is our divorce papers, but it's also the foundation by which how this country runs. And it's the only thing that keeps us together. That's why when I hear people talking about problems with the Constitution, I'm like, you need to fuck off.
Yeah.
Because I took an oath, and that's an oath is for life in the U.S. military. When you take that oath, that's not for how long ever you're in the military. That is a lifetime oath. That oath is, I swear to defend the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. That word domestic is in there for a fucking reason. Because there are always going to be people in this country trying to destroy our Constitution. And when they do that, our country will fail. It's just a matter of time. And we're in trouble now because people ignore the Constitution. We have the government constantly doing shit that's really against your constitutional rights all the time. And I love and support law enforcement. Absolutely do. But I know cops do it all the time. And I believe that law enforcement should be better versed in constitutional law before they're allowed to go on the streets.
Yes.
That's why I love military veterans who become cops. They tend to be better cops. I hate saying it. I'm not trying to take a shit on some of my friends because I have friends who are cops that never served. I'm telling you, they are better disciplined and better trained and understand the Constitution better than your average cop. And if you don't believe me, there's a conversation we recorded with Patrick, and he agreed with me, the chief. He said, "You're right. You're right." And I said, "I know I'm right," because I wanted to be a cop. Anima said she couldn't have handled that if I'd become a cop. And I became a paramedic because what's that thing that that was just found to be unconstitutional? Affirmative action.
Yes.
I didn't get the job because of affirmative action because even though I had the highest score of anybody on the tests, I was the last person to sign up. And so therefore I was booted in order for somebody of some race. I don't know what race it was, but somebody of another race was given that opportunity instead of me. Based solely off their race. That's unconstitutional. And all it would take to be at least 4 years in the military, then go on to become a police officer. It's like look, I'm going to tell you, in the military, you got assholes. You got assholes that are cops. You got assholes that in the military, and some of those assholes go on to be cops. I know that not every single case is going to work out the way I'm saying. But I'm saying as a whole, they tend to. Oh, there you go. Patrick's there. There's Patrick.
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing?
Hey,
I was just talking about you, saying about you and I had that conversation and that you were in agreement with me on it. But I said, look, every organization in the world, doesn't matter what it is, has assholes.
Yeah.
You can't get away from them. You know, I told this to a lady, Patrick, you like this one. She goes, "Thank you for your service." I said, "Thank you for letting me serve. But I'm going to tell you, not every person you think that served is really a good soldier. They might have been a real piece of shit." There's a lot of them in there. And the way we got rid of them, because you can't fire anybody in the military.
No.
We promote them the fuck out. Get rid of them. Make them somebody else's problem.
I had kind of a three-strike. I had a three-strike rule.
Yeah. Now, the blowback on that one is, and this happened to me. One of the guys we promoted out 2 years later got sent back, and he was in charge of us. And we went, we didn't consider that. Because he kept getting promoted to get rid of him. And he came back as one of our leaders. Like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, there's a problem with that system.
Well, I had a 3-strike rule. I just focused on the guys. I had a place where it was the dumping ground for the department for a while, and I was in charge. And I just, all right. The thing about discipline is if you give somebody discipline, the goal is to change how they operate, right? It's to wake them up, right? And the only way to do that, you just got to be tough on them, right? And I turned around so many more careers than I actually had to, that I had to fire or really deal with. But
I know that sucks when you have to do that. But
I like I said, guys, I turned around guys, they ended up promoting or having a really good career, the rest of their career.
You gave them the wake-up call.
I gave them a wake-up call. And those that couldn't figure it out, that, hey, this career that paid them $100,000 a year for the high school education is worth saving, then, there really wasn't much I could do for them. I gave them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And, eventually they either leave or you fire them, right? And a lot of people left.
Yeah, you weed out people pretty quickly that are there for the paycheck.
Well, unfortunately, I came from a very big department, so we had 22 sheriff stations,
Los Angeles,
9 jails. You have, like 25 courthouses. There are plenty of places they can go to get away from somebody who actually was doing their job. Now,
you are Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. Is that technically Orange County or
no? What used to be
Los Angeles County?
The LA County used to cover Orange County, and a big chunk of it was huge back when California first started. But no, it's Orange County, it's its own. San Bernardino and let's see what's the other, Riverside, they're adjacent. So is Kern County and Ventura County. But LA County is 4,000 square miles. It has 22 sheriff stations, plus we do transit policing, we do college.
As I recall, Los Angeles is now effectively, metropolitan Los Angeles is the second largest city in the United States, size-wise. Is the largest one, Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
well, LA,
it's spread out.
I would say LA it's 3.8 million. There's 10 million people in LA County.
Right.
LA City proper has about 3.8 million people in it, and they're like 450 square miles. And then
now, with that population, what is the ratio to law enforcement to?
It's actually pretty low in comparison. I think I've seen this number before, but it was less. It was 2 per 1,000 or something like that, or a little less.
Wow.
It's way more. We have way less people per 1,000 in Los Angeles or Southern California policing in comparison to big cities elsewhere, right? So, yeah, so it's, but the sheriff's police we have about maybe 3.2 million people that we do service. My last command, I did the policing for about 700,000 people. And then you have a bunch of, I don't want to say smaller cities, but just say smaller jurisdictions that make up the bulk of the rest, like another 3 million that they do the policing for. Like Pasadena, Burbank, Glendale, those kinds of cities, and all great departments. But the benefit of having a large department is people can flee from your command if you're holding them accountable. So,
right.
Yeah. So, but just to clarify, LA County Sheriff's Department is the largest sheriff's department in the country. It's second, I think, only to NYPD, maybe third behind Chicago police in terms of number of personnel. So it's big, but it mostly flies under the radar in comparison to those departments.
Man, do you or have you watched The Rookie?
Oh God, there's a couple of movies that were called The Rookies.
The TV series.
Oh, the TV series. I have not watched the TV series. No.
I watch it because I love Nathan Fillion.
And this is LAPD based show.
It's LAPD, yeah. And I have so many problems with that show. I really do. I get aggravated with it. Look, weapon discipline is so essential, including in law enforcement, and it drives me nuts when I see them do stupid shit on the show. But they had one really good season. Season 2 was a very good season. That was when the dude, son of a great actor, I can't think of who it is, was a member of the Los Angeles, either Sheriff's Department or Police Department. And he was their technical advisor. And that was a season where he had the most effective work. And it was the best season. And it was a lot of less fuck ups on that show.
I think I told this story before, but I was working a movie job. And so what would happen is that they would do movie shoots and they would hire deputies, if it's in West Hollywood, which is where I was working, to enforce their permit. In reality, we're providing security and enforcing permit. And so they had a couple of LAPD technical advisors, and it was a part of the show was the extras were deputy sheriffs, and they had them decked out, and I'm like, what, how come you got their uniforms like this? This is crazy. Well, and the thing that bothered me, you know what speedy loaders are, right?
Yeah.
So, it's when you had 6 shooters, they allowed you to load quickly if you knew what you're doing. And we wore our speedy loader pouches where the flips were up, so that you could unsnap, get the speed loader, just like Dirty Harry, put it in and go. I was actually pretty proficient with that. I like those things, right? But they had their pouches upside down. And I had an issue with that. I said, why do you have their pouches upside down? That doesn't make any sense.
There was that
there
was this Canadian SWAT show.
Fofos, right? I wanted them to look legitimate. And
yeah, of course. There was this Canadian SWAT show. I can't remember what the name of it was. It had an actor in there, this Greek actor I really like from not Rules of Engagement, the other show with David Spade that they did, Just Shoot Me. And he played one of the members of the SWAT team. They had this guy that was a sniper, and his fucking ACOG was on backwards on the weapon. I'm like, what the fuck?
I made such a.
He wanted more of a challenge.
So the assistant director heard me, and then the technical advisors, both LAPD homicide guys, good guys, but they hadn't been in the streets for a long time. They were in the streets when it was a dump pouch. You know what a dump pouch is?
Yeah.
You unsnap and it dumps in your hand. Speedy loaders are completely different. If you hit the snap, you lose your rounds if it just drops out, right? So that's why you want it up. And I explained that to them, and they were listening to me, the director folks, and so that I get a few.
Did they
later,
fix it?
No, they asked me to be in a scene. I was dressed as a deputy sheriff. They said, "Hey, do you mind doing this scene then?"
What was that? So we can all watch that.
That was the movie Cop, and I think they got the back of my head knocking on a door. That's about it. So I didn't get any credit, and of course I couldn't really tell my bosses what I had done. But so sometimes the technical advisors, even if they got law enforcement background, get it wrong. Things change, times change, and I had the opportunity. I was making some decisions on what type of semi or automatic rifles my guys were going to carry. I was creating an anti-terrorism team. And there was a lot of resistance because the SWAT guys didn't want anybody else to have any of this stuff. But I really needed it because I was doing transit policing. And so we worked through all the challenges. And the question is, do you do the M4 or do you do an MP5? So something that, and so I got to go shoot those things. And I realized how unfamiliar I was with that type of weapon. Now you give me a shotgun, pump shotgun, give me a 9mm hand revolver. I'm okay. I'm comfortable. It take me a little while to figure out the slide drops or, whatever I need to figure out in the gun, the magazine drop or the lock the slide back, whatever. But you start doing automatic or a weapon that does 3-round bursts or just the semi, you have to train with that stuff to understand it. So I would never volunteer to be a technical advisor on a SWAT program because I simply did not. I did enjoy shooting the machine guns, so that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we carried both because depending on what the problem was, if you needed to reach out and touch somebody, the M4 was best. If you were in a more of a crowded environment, the MP5 was better too. So we ended up. I tried them out and said, okay, well.
Yeah, I got to tell you, the MP5 is a better weapon for indoor combat.
Yeah, and
because you can turn a corner faster.
So for transit, you had very long platforms for subways or in some facilities, and then but on train cars, very confined. So you had to be able to have both weapons depending what the need was. So,
and it's a 9mm, as I recall, right?
Yes. Yes, that was. So it was.
Now I wanted to show some images to you here, Patrick, and then we're going to wrap up. I'm glad you dropped in. Now it's good to see you. This is one of the scenes from The Rookie that just irked the shit out of me. They have a hostage situation, armed hostage situation. Now he catches this guy coming out of the bathroom in the top image.
Yeah,
and he's got his 9mm aimed at him, and he's got him dead to rights. Disarms him, but then he comes around the corner for this situation with this guy pointing a gun at this kid, and for some unknown reason he switches from a lethal weapon to a less than lethal weapon.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen.
First of all, if you've got your weapon trained, I learned this. If you've got your weapon trained on an aggressor, you don't take that weapon off of him. And he had to take the weapon off of him to switch weapons. On top of that, it made noise.
Yeah.
When he switched weapons. It was the dumbest fucking thing I'd ever seen. And I laughed so hard at this, I had to share it on Facebook. All my cop buddies commented on it.
Well,
then there's this one. Look at that moment. What do you see wrong there?
Oh, the guy's pointed right
Oh,
at
the
and he's
ankle.
looking
That's
at
pointed right at his fucking ass. Like, weapon discipline, motherfucker. Go to low ready.
You know, the thing about all of these things is when you're in, you revert to your training when you're in high stress situations, and the training you're going to keep on target with your.
It's also going to be what gets you through it.
Yeah, you're not going to switch to your. What would happen is if you came in with a less than lethal, you're not going to automatic. You know what I mean? That might be a.
Well,
challenge.
you don't know what the outcome is going to be.
You have to change. You have to think about changing from less than lethal to lethal. I can't imagine anybody switching from lethal to less than lethal when they're dealing with an armed suspect like that. But you know, because you go in with what you have, and then boom, it's called cognitive load. You get this cognitive load on, right? And so it reduces your ability to think cognitively, and so that's why you revert to your training. You will react as you're trained because of that, and you see it in sports all the time, right? You know, if you're like I played defensive end, so if I saw somebody coming out of the backfield in a certain way. You know, I was trained to react to somebody trying to kick me out. You close down and push the guy inward towards the linebackers, right? And when I saw that stuff happening, that's what I would do because that's what I was trained to do. That's what I'm doing under stress. And it's the same thing with law enforcement or tactics. You know, and I use the sports analogy because there's a lot more sportsmen out there than there are people who are trained in military or police. You know, they can understand that, right? Most people can understand that if they played sports.
Just to let you know, our shows are yours and my shows, except for the Wednesday shows, are no longer going to be on KGRA's radio. So we don't have to play that mid-show. Martin was going to tell you the mid-show commercial anymore. I'm going to go back to what I was trying to do, trying to find a real sponsor because we haven't gotten a dime from those guys. Great product, but not a dime, and neither is KGRA. But before we go, though, I wanted to throw these out here to you. Monkey just says, you get promoted for being an asshole? I should have joined. Absolutely. You would have done well in the military. Nobody would have liked you, except maybe me. Let's see. So, Patrick, have you been to New Mexico? Ariel asks.
I have not. I mean, I sent staff there. Are you talking about the place where they teach people about explosives? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm assuming because I'm friends with the guy who did a lot of. He was Buds, and he did a lot of training around the country for both National Guard and for law enforcement for explosives.
Yeah, I forget the name of the place. I sent a bunch of people there because we were constantly training folks. There are some explosive dogs and then staff who. Our anti-terrorism teams who needed to know that stuff. But I was of a high enough rank that I didn't get a chance to go to those funny classes. I did go to San Antonio. They always wanted, if you were graduating a dog, an explosive dog, you got to go to the graduation. So I went to a couple of those because I loved Riverwalk.
Nice.
I've never been there. And it was always a good trip.
Now, Ariel asks, have you guys ever watched the Netflix movie Dog? It came out last year. Yeah, it's got, what's his name in it from G.I. Joe. I like that film a lot.
I have not watched it, but it's at
it's a dog with PTSD.
At Lackland Air Force Base is where they train all the military dogs and the bomb detection dogs that are used. They all there's a connection with the military and why they're trained there. I can't remember everything about that. It's been so long ago now, probably 20 years ago. But you know, I wasn't a big pet guy, right? And I ended up I had 13 canines working for me. I just started from scratch. That's and we built a really good program. And I can tell you, the guys that are dog handlers, it's like they died and went to heaven. They love it.
I got to ask you a question. I've always been curious. Do you ever have dogs that actually inhale the drugs?
Well, no. What happens is it depends on how the drugs are packaged. I wasn't involved with the narcotics detection dog, although there was they're very clannish, the canine deputies, whether it's bombs or patrol dogs that look for bad guys or narcotics. Everybody talks about their dog and, what kind of dog do you have? And, but the dog, it smells a scent and it sits down. So as soon as but it can be a micro, it's just they have such good noses. I don't think they have to sniff a lot to figure out that there's drugs there. So I'd be
it's sort of like
dog overdoses, because they would smell it from a mile away if it was, if it's aerialized, where it's just in the air, right? Which is what you're talking about. And that would be fentanyl, I guess. And I do let me bring this up just because I read it today. And so 6 weeks ago, I said, Mexico is the biggest supplier, or one of the biggest suppliers of methamphetamine. And now they have a methamphetamine problem that they talked about.
Yeah, the Ozarks used to be the capital until South, MS-13 started doing their shit.
Absolutely. Well, in the LA Times today, I said 6 weeks ago, Mexico's got a fentanyl problem that they're denying. And today in LA Times paper, LA Times says Mexico's got a fentanyl problem that they're denying. And thousands of people are dying of fentanyl poisoning over there as well.
Scary shit, man.
So I mean, you watch my show, you're going to hear some good stuff. I think the LA Times is watching my show to get some ideas on what they can do articles about. That isn't the first time.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have somebody watching you. But your show this week is going to be one of my favorite books. It was a good film. I had problems with the film, but I do love the film. LA Confidential.
You know what? There's so many things I love about the movie. First of all, the cars are awesome. Just all those old cars. And then the great thing is, and I told you this before, I have a guy whose dad or grandpa was part of the original Gangster Squad. His dad replaced his grandpa on the Gangster Squad. And this guy, Buzz Williams, told me, that's some of the things you're going to see in the movie where they encouraged the gangsters to go back to where they came from did in fact happen. They were they lumped them up and put them on a plane and sent them back, right? And so that's all. A lot of that is very true. I think the problem I have is I don't think there was any real foundation that LAPD was trying to take over the narcotics and rackets in the city, which is what the premise.
Oh, I've heard allegations of that. Yeah, it's like.
But they were corrupt. There was corruption coming out of the 30s, 40s, and into the 50s, and they tried to change it around in the 50s, and that's going to be a big part of my show. But
you could see that transition in the 60s with because that's what Webb was all about. Was trying to show how Los Angeles had shaped up with its law enforcement. Adam 12 was just a great show. Dragnet. When he brought it back in the 60s, and I'm such a big fan. Did you see your video yet?
Which no.
No, the video. Okay, we're gonna premiere it here, but first of all, I want to get through these comments. Oh my God, Patrick looks like Bryan Cranston.
Except does Bryan Cranston have hair? I think he has hair. I don't have hair.
He shaved it though during the series.
He shaved it. Okay.
I would love to watch that when she was talking about Dog, and Dog is a great show, and Dog. And let's see, saw Dog in the theater when it came out. Very good film. Indoor Combat. Dad having a shootout with us being upstairs and the intruder being downstairs. It happens. That shit happens.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen? And this is our good friend Penny. Have y'all seen Sound of Freedom? I have not watched it yet. I'm planning to see it this weekend.
Is this the one about trafficking?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just, I haven't seen it yet. I will see it.
True story, too.
And I want to say we have powerful people. In California, they passed a law where they eliminated a law that we used to use, loitering with intent to do prostitution. And
loitering with intent.
Yeah. Victims, trafficking victims said, don't do this, because that was one of the ways a lot of us got off the street was law enforcement interceding, right? And then we had these liberals says, no, law enforcement just uses it to harass prostitutes. And, which is such, I mean, I did, okay, I'm close to saying words I don't want to say, but so, it's so wrong that they're lying to you about why we do what we do. I don't know how many people I've interceded with who actually wanted to get off the street and they were hooked on narcotics, and that's what kept them in the life of prostitution, both men and women, boys and girls. And they made it even harder for law enforcement to intercede or do something about it. And then they say it's because of racism or sexism, whatever, that we got to get rid of these laws.
Well, they always bring an ism in there to tear down law enforcement. Because again, I tell people I am a big proponent of law enforcement. I have friends in law enforcement all over the country, and they're so essential. And if you don't believe me, watch the chaos. Some people want chaos, and fuck them. But anyway, wasn't it true that when they were cleaning out the 9/11 area of civilian deaths and were using search dogs, and when the dogs were not able to find anyone alive, that they became depressed? I read about that too, that dogs have feelings, man.
Yeah. Dogs get excited, and you know what? Because for them, this is what they do. They train the dogs that you find something, you get to play, right? And so they tap into that play drive that the dog has, and so you'll see if you actually attend it, they get a chance to play with the Kong. The Kong is this big rubber ball thing that the handler has on a rope, and he plays with the dog after the dog finds the dope or the bomb or the body. And so, I can see where if they can't ever find, if they don't ever, you're searching for hours and you don't find anything, you don't get to play. Yeah, dog is going to get
get bummed out by it.
He's going to get bummed out about it because he or she wants to play. That's what's happening.
I absolutely have no doubts that they did that. I didn't read about that part, that they would cover themselves in debris and let the dogs find them to help them feel better.
Yeah. Well, when I had canines, they did trainings at least once a week. There's a certain level of proficiency you had to maintain, which required them to train on a regular basis. Because, hey, it's a perishable skill like anything else, right? So even for dogs. And so you have to do it on a fairly regular basis. And it also reinforces the dog, right? Gives them positive reinforcement that they're doing right, and they get to play. So I actually think we had it staged so there was trainings every day, Monday through Wednesday, and then because we had 13 dogs, we had a certain percentage of the dogs that would actually go through the training for the day, and the other handlers, their dog would be rested, but they would set up the problem for the dogs going through the training. So if you think about it, that means every day 2 people are going through multiple training scenarios for their dog, and the other people, the ones who are setting up and scoring it and then submitting, because we had to submit it to the feds. I think it was all federally funded stuff. I remember all this stuff. I thought I forgot all this stuff.
Holy shit. I do have to wrap up. My God, we went a whole hour.
Right.
But let's see. Hail Patrick, Shinatsky says. Penny says, it took 5 years to get SOF to the theaters. I don't know. What is SOF?
Special Forces.
Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom.
Oh, Sound of Freedom. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yes, I did review on it. Oh, good, Michael. That's good. Yeah. But I'm going to wrap this up here. Don't forget, we have a show coming up this afternoon. TGIF. We're going to be talking about Indiana Jones 5, shit going on at Disney, the hatred of people at Disney towards David Zaslav, that they're part of the problem of his being attacked. On top of that, we're going to be talking about Tom Cruise with his new film coming out. Plus, we're going to be doing Mission Impossible on Saturday. Tom and I are. And the original 96 film. We're going back to where it started. And also, I want to mention the author is still alive, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. James Ellroy is still alive. And when the director of LA Confidential died, he waited a bit, and then he let it be known, I fucking hate that movie.
Wow. Really?
He did not like the film. And he's always been careful to not talk shit about it because he didn't want to upset anybody. But now that the director is gone, he gave it enough time. He waited, and then he made it publicly known. I think it was this year.
This is the writer? The writer,
James Ellroy, who wrote the book, and he's an amazing writer. I love his books. I love his writing. He's one of the first people to come out there and say, "Stop saying closure. You never get closure."
Well, I think I recognize a lot of the site, like the Formosa Cafe where they did they embraced Johnny
the shooting.
Right? That still existed when I was working. I think it's still there now too. And I'd been in that place, so that was kind of interesting. And it's the same, they obviously keep it clean and everything, but a lot of the same stuff is on the walls, the pictures of stars and things like that. So there were a lot of things about the movie I liked.
But yeah, James Ellroy's still alive, dude. He's somebody I would love to interview. I don't think I'd ever get him, but I would love to try to get it in for an interview because I love his books. And one of my favorite things he wrote about was the murder of his own mother, the unsolved crime. It's what drove him to do it. He's Batman. The murder of my mother made me a crime-fighting writer. And he loves writing about police officers. He loves law enforcement.
Well, he wrote quite a few, I think, about, like he wrote The Black Dahlia, I think, and there was another one he wrote about.
He wrote the main
30s, 40s, and 50s
Yeah.
LAPD. So we will do one more of those. I think the Black Dahlia got made in a movie. We'll probably do that one down the road.
Absolutely. I think that would be a good one. Before we go, some more comments. Cam says, Gerry, thanks, Gerry, Martin, Das Wolfen, and everyone in the chat. Take it easy and have a great weekend. You too, Cam. Ariel says, I think we're going another hour. No, we are not.
No.
We are done. And Monkey Juice brings up Bosch, which is another great show. I love that show. And I like the sequel series that's on Freevee. Same cast, pretty much the same cast. It's really good. Sadly, we lost, I just forgot his name, that played the chief of police. Black actor, just died this year from John Wick and all that shit.
Lance
Riddick. Yeah. We can only hope. My first time here, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm glad you are. Thanks for joining the clan. Not the bad clan. This is the good clan. I'm going to get demonetized just saying that word. Anyway, everybody, see you guys this afternoon. Hopefully we'll be Keith is my main concern this afternoon because he only has an hour this afternoon. So we're going to try to we get as much as we can out of Keith from the show. Going to be talking about a lot of information dealing with the studio situation, and he's going to be assessing a lot of that information. And but with that, guys, thanks for dropping in, Patrick. I appreciate it, man. Remember, he's on Tuesdays, 10 o'clock in the morning, Central Time. And that's it, guys. See ya.
Adios.
Those sons of bitches. Ma, I'm doing a show.